Hi, and welcome back to Phoenician Priestess. This is the eclipse video that I have been waiting to make. And I actually wanted to release this a few days ago, but I got very sick and I still am very sick. So just a heads up, but I couldn't hold back anymore. I wanted to come and make this video because I know you guys must already be feeling the effects of the first of the two eclipses coming in March. You'll already be feeling them. The first eclipse, depending on where you are in the world, will hit March 13th/14th. March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST until March 14th, 12:31 a.m. PST. That is the exact eclipse time. That's in PST, so you might have to convert it. And that's happening at 23 degrees of Virgo, and it is a full moon eclipse. But the effect of the eclipse can start to be felt 30 days prior, which we are already in that window. We entered that window on February 13th, right before Valentine's Day. And it will feel intense energy-wise until 30 days after. But the events related to this particular eclipse will roll out for up to 6 months after. But that's like a much kind of lesser energy. It's more thematic. It's more kind of a story. Eclipses are like 10x even more the power of a super full moon. They truly are. I mean, if you ignore full moon horoscopes, full moon forecasts, full moon astrology, you can't really ignore eclipses. Eclipses always come with some kind of fated shift. The intensity of that and the way that hits your life will depend really heavily on your chart. Of course, we do have an all signs in this video, so do watch that. But of course, chart specific tells a reader more, an astrologer more. But either way, it stirs up the energies and the emotions in the collective, especially this eclipse. Okay, it's big enough that I had to come from being sick and do this while congested. And it's like 9 p.m. over here right now, just because it's really big. I think it will be hitting many people in the world in a large way personally, but also it will be hitting the collective. And of course, when it comes to collective versus us, we are like drops in the collective. And so anything that happens in the collective, especially depending on how we manage our energy, but we feel it. It affects our daily life. So before I really get into it, I got overexcited and I jumped into it before all of the regular stuff. Just know that you can find your all signs to skip to in the description box below, and go there and find your rising sign first, and then listen to your sun and moon. If this is valuable or if you enjoy this, please subscribe and like. If this video resonates, it means so much to me and it helps me so much because this is a new channel and I appreciate it all. If you have anything at all that you want to add or any questions at all, or even just want to say hi or something nice, I won't say no to that. Please feel free to leave a comment. I truly read everything. But if you have subscribed in the past, or if you want to subscribe now and you leave a comment, then any additional comment, and of course, subscribing and commenting counts as an entry, and any additional comment will count as an entry to enter you into a free giveaway with a reading with me, a full natal chart deep dive. And I'm going to be pulling one winner within every 4 videos / 1 month. And so in this case, we have 2 videos left before I pull the new winner. And do not skip ahead yet. I really recommend you listen to this intro, and I'm going to continue with where I started because this is a gigantic eclipse. So this eclipse feels like it has multiple themes. The overall theme is feeling like a final cleanse before a new era begins. There's big themes I'm feeling for a lot of people in the collective to do with love. Lots of sudden changes to do with love. We'll talk about that. Lots of things emerging from the past. But there's things happening on a collective level that I predict between February to the beginning of May. Because of how kind of the eclipse window is and how things will roll out, and other big transits happening between March and May that I'll talk in different videos. I predict there's going to be something really big that happens on a collective world level, possibly to do with aliens. I know it sounds wild, but just bear with me. Aliens, AI, technology. Of course, we know that there's been a lot of changes and kind of energy, and things shifting a lot with this stuff earlier. But I think it's going to be really maybe so sudden and big compared to what we've seen so far, and big in the sense of sudden. And I think after whatever unfolds in this way, a lot of what we thought the world looked like for a lot of people will actually look really different. So that's a big prediction that I feel is going to happen collectively. I also forgot to say, and I really want to say, nothing that I say I intend to ever cause fear. This is a no fear place. This is, I think each person, we should think of ourselves like the roots of a plant or a tree, and we should aim to be heavily grounded. When we talk about grounding, that's kind of what we mean. We're so grounded into the earth that when what's happening in the collective, what's happening in governments around the world, etc., when it pushes and pulls around us, okay, it can sway us a little and it can kind of sway our leaves, but we should be so grounded that it doesn't shake us. Just remember that everyone born in this time chose to be born. And you might be thinking, no, Phoenician priestess, I did not choose to be born. But your soul did. If you're on this page, then I'm assuming you're open-minded enough to hear about reincarnation. And we choose to incarnate, and we even choose our parents, and we choose our family, and we choose the things that our soul has to go through in each life. And why am I talking about these big life things now? Because that's what eclipses are about. Eclipses are like Saturn in a way. They're the contract keepers, but they work very differently. They come in and they are kind of like, they throw you back on the path that you're meant to be on. And they'll quickly peel away or quickly bring in or quickly shake up inside or shake up internally what needs to be shaken up to throw you back on the path of what you were contracted to learn. And what path you have to be on. And anything that's not aligned, they'll realign. Okay. And on a collective, they hit very intensely as well. Eclipse in intuitive people can be felt so intensely, but also in non-intuitive people, they won't even know what they're feeling. Maybe they're not as in tune, but, if you talk to lawyers who work in criminal justice or defense or police or people in the emergency room, they'll even say that around eclipses, they see maybe accidents go up, tempers flare more, maybe impulsive crimes related to impulsiveness. Maybe someone got really angry or things kind of like that break out more. And that's because eclipses truly affect us at that level. I know you guys are feeling it too. What do I mean by feeling it? Your sleep could be affected. Either some of you could be sleeping a lot more, or you could be sleeping a lot less or waking up in the middle of the night. For some of you, you could be having very wild or crazy or vivid or dreams or visions or intuitive things like that. Others of you could be feeling it physically, could be feeling symptoms in terms of maybe lightheadedness or fatigue, or brain fog. I was going to say, what's that called again? Ironically, it hit me at that. I got brain fog, or lapses in memory, lapses in focus, very hard to focus. The body could be feeling weak. For some of you, especially certain placements, which we'll talk about in the sign by sign, could be feeling this very heavily in terms of health. You could be getting sick. Don't worry. It's just the energy, / where it's sitting on your chart. And then for a lot of you, it's emotions. You could be feeling like you're on this emotional roller coaster, this really, really intense emotional up and down and up and down and up and down. You could be feeling incredibly reactive, like something little could happen and you could just be very reactive emotionally, start crying, start yelling, things like that. There could also just seem like you might be feeling even a little bit nihilistic. Especially, depending on where this eclipse is hitting specifically in your chart, you'll feel this more or less. If you have a lot of water energy in your chart, you could be feeling this a lot. Or if your moon or your Mercury or your ascendant or your sun or your Mars or your psyche is in a water sign, you could be incredibly sensitive to eclipse energy. So if someone listening to this is feeling very hopeless, feeling like I keep trying and trying, nothing is working, or feeling overwhelmed to the point where even little things are starting to overwhelm them, or feeling like they've lost hope that things are just going to go their way, please listen to me and just bear with it until around April 29th. And things should start to feel differently. Now, this won't be for everyone. For some people, depending on how aligned they are to what the eclipse wants to change, or to, again, depending on where exactly or what exactly this eclipse is hitting in their chart, they might not, or depending also on their sensitivity energetically, they might not feel it as long or feel it as intensely this way. It could just be bringing a lot of shifts. Okay. So eclipses always come in pairs. There's a lunar and a solar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is a full moon eclipse, and a solar eclipse is a new moon eclipse, and they can be in any order. And eclipses happen every 6 months. And what's really big about this cycle is we're in the process of the axis changing. So for the last around 2 years, we were on a Libra, the Libra Aries axis. And now we are shifting to the Virgo Pisces axis. And we had the first eclipse on this axis back in September. And now we have the second eclipse on this axis, but also the last eclipse on the Libra Aries axis. So the first eclipse that we will be having in March, the one on March 13th/14th, will be happening in Virgo. The second eclipse that will be happening at the end of March, around March 29th at 9 degrees of Aries, which is a solar eclipse, is happening in, I know I just said it, in Aries. What's really crazy is the day after the Aries solar eclipse, Neptune will enter Aries on 3:30. Neptune is a slower moving planet. It spends around 14 years in each sign and takes around 165 years. Excuse me. See, I'm sick. Sorry. Takes around, I'm trying not to edit a lot, so I really do apologize. Takes around 165 years to go around the whole chart. So Neptune is a generational planet, and it's a planet that when it moves, similar to Pluto, which everyone was talking about back in November, when it moves, astrologers notice. What it does, astrologers notice, because it affects the collective and it talks about really big generational themes. Now, if you haven't listened, which you probably haven't, don't worry, to my video back in November about my predictions, it was right after the election, because on my Instagram, I posted that I predicted that President Donald Trump was going to win the election. And then I asked in my stories if people wanted to know how I knew that, and I would explain it astrologically and tell them also what I predict was coming. And go back and watch that video if you haven't yet. It is, you're going to see, I think I released that video right before Bitcoin did its jump, and I talked about crypto. Crypto, by the way, is going to keep even growing. It's going to have a lot of fluctuations. I'm not saying Bitcoin specifically, but so I would still, it's not your opportunity to invest in crypto is not gone. I would still do that. Okay, anyway, and go back and watch that video, because a lot of the big transits that I talked about are going to be happening from now until July. And these are big generational things that we saw happen in the world around the American Civil War, the American Revolution, and the First and Second World Wars. And one of these big things is is Neptune entering Aries. Another one happening later is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And another big thing happening as well is Mars and Venus being retrograde at the same time, which is going to happen later this year. There's just a lot of very similar repetitions of big things that happened around the world. Now, I always say, I don't want anyone to get scared. That's not what astrology is about. But it's just to talk about that, these slower moving planets and these bigger celestial events like eclipses and ingresses, which is when a planet changes signs, people feel them very heavily energetically, and they start feeling them before. And you're going to be feeling it for a while, which is why it's important for you to know about it. Now, the ruler of this eclipse in Virgo is Mercury. And what's really interesting is the day of this eclipse, depending on, again, time zone. So March 14th, Mercury will actually begin retrograde in Aries and then end in Pisces. This is also what's adding a lot of intensity to this eclipse, the fact that the ruler itself will begin retrograde on the day, and then starting in the sign that the second eclipse will be in, and then going back to the point where it changes signs. Big deal, okay? At the same time, we will also be in a Venus retrograde from March 1st till April 12th, which brings relationships and money themes under review. And Juno, an asteroid that not as many astrologers as I would like work with that represents commitment, contracts, soul unions, soul bonds, marriage, will also begin retrograde from March 19th to July 10th. This is a big one, okay? A very big thing happened to me last year when Juno was retrograde during the April eclipse. So at the same time, we have the full moon, this eclipse, opposing Neptune, which is going to ingress at the rest of the month. And this full moon sextiling Mars and trining Uranus. And Uranus is chaos and change and was active in the last full moon. And Uranus is near Algol, which is basically all of that translates to action, sudden shifts, and shockwaves. So we have these themes of clarity, illusion, revisiting the past, things from the past coming up, commitment, contracts, soul bonds, beginning of a new era, beginning of a new generation, unlike any we have seen or known in our lifetimes or in our grandparents' lifetimes even. Relationship and money themes under review, technology as well with some of these things that are happening, revelations, secrets coming out. I mean, it is an intense energy. It is a portal between worlds that is opening. The Virgo eclipse is really cutting away the dead weight so that the Aries eclipse can usher in and start to usher in a lot of these other transits that are bringing in basically a new frontier. This is like the first eclipse in a cycle that is acting as a grand purge and acting as a grand rebirther before we step into the Aries new moon eclipse on March 29th, which is coinciding with what used to be the Phoenician New Year. The astrological New Year begins during the spring equinox, which is around March 22nd and 21st to 23rd, depending on the year. And for the Phoenicians and for a lot of the ancient cultures, that marked the beginning of the new year. For the Phoenicians, they would celebrate from then until April 1st. And April 1st would mark the beginning of the start, but the celebrations or the starting period of this kind of window started during the equinox, which is when we have a new moon eclipse in Aries. Aries being the starter of the zodiac. You don't understand. This is like the stars and the planets saying something. This is a total collective world rebirth. Okay. The energetic significance of a new moon eclipse in Aries, within the actual, new year, astrological new year window, the equinox, is just, so significant. So yeah. And so this first eclipse happening the beginning of March is the final lunar cycle. It's the final lunar eclipse before the astrological new year. I predict that what you're going to see is mass revelations, clarity, endings, purging of outdated belief systems, narratives, and lies that may have existed in government or in media, purging of toxic habits, major shifts in global and personal health, shocking truths, hidden information coming to light. With Neptune ingressing into Aries, this eclipse is literally marking the shift between two astrological ages that will last for another 165 years. It is truly massive. It's the end of an era and a birth of a new collective identity. It's like filtering out a lot of impurity, that Virgoan energy. But doing it as well by forcing us to revisit past karmic cycles. The word karmic here, I am using it very specifically because it really is about that. It's about revisiting past karma before entering fully into this new era. There could be, on a mass level, collective level, mass confusion, glitches, breakdowns, but also massive breakthroughs and transformations. It's an eclipse that kind of clears the stage. My other big prediction for this eclipse that you might not hear other astrologers talk about is this eclipse might reopen the chapter to the pandemic. That does not mean, I think, another pandemic lockdown will happen this year. Absolutely not. I actually do not see that in the stars. I see the scare of that as kind of like a fear-mongering thing, but I do not see that happening. What I mean is, in 2020, when the pandemic started, we're seeing a lot of the same similar themes in the aspects and ingresses that we saw then. The Virgo Pisces axis was heavily activated in 2020 when the world started dealing with the pandemic. And that triggers things related to health crises. And so with this eclipse being that the ruler is in retrograde and then the ruler will later ingress into Pisces, I think a lot of things to do with the pandemic are going to come up for us to re-examine in terms of shifting public health policies, shifting public health opinions, misinformation coming to the surface. I believe we will be revisiting past narratives as a collective. I believe we will be uncovering hidden details. I believe we will be seeing things from a new angle. And also, the pandemic officially began in 2020 under Mercury being retrograde in Pisces, February, March 2020. Now, Mercury retrograding in Aries will be returning to Pisces during the same time, March, and this could be bringing reversals, disclosures, new revelations about what happened behind the scenes during the pandemic and a lot of corruption that happened. Virgo rules health, Virgo rules data, Virgo rules disease, and Virgo rules medical research. So I believe this eclipse, especially with the aspect to Uranus, especially everything else happening at that time, especially Neptune ingress, which is about delusion and also idealism, ingressing into Aries, which is about action and fire. I think this is going to be bringing big whistleblower moments about the pandemic era decisions, big questions about motivation, big government or corporate accountability regarding public health policies, new studies revealing long-term effects or misinformation, a shift in how society is viewing medicine, health mandates, and holistic wellness. This eclipse is a collective reckoning. Virgo wants truth. Virgo wants purification, and Virgo wants accountability. And Aries is going to demand that we have accountability. If something was hidden, manipulated, or misunderstood in 2020, this could be the moment that it collectively starts coming to the light, where people who did not question before are going to start questioning, and where things become undeniable in our ability to question them. So that's my other prediction. So besides things to do with aliens and AI and technology and governments, we also have this pandemic kind of reoccurrence coming to the surface. And again, these are predictions that I believe will be very active from February until the next 6 months, most active from February until the beginning of May. Okay. All right, let's quickly just talk about the love collective part before we jump into the sign by sign. If you're still with me up till this point, well done. I'm proud of you. Okay, next, my final big theme prediction for this eclipse, a little bit less dramatic than aliens and revelations about the pandemic, is the love and relationship themes of this eclipse. Now, if you're new to this channel, you might not know, but I absolutely love love, and I cannot help it. It is literally in my birth chart. And I think this eclipse is, for a lot of people, to the point where it's on a collective level, is going to have a lot of themes to do with love because of a few reasons. First, this eclipse is happening during a Venus retrograde, which means it kind of brings love under review. Venus retrograde will be from March 1st to April 12th, and this could bring back old flames, unresolved wounds, past life connections, things resurface either for closure or rekindling. If there are faded connections, they could possibly return, but it doesn't mean that they're meant to stay. It's a time where we reassess what we want in a partner, in love, in relationships, what we truly need, our own self-worth. And then right after this eclipse and in between the second eclipse, Juno goes retrograde March 19th to July 10th. Now, Juno goes retrograde around every year and a half, sometimes longer, because Juno's an asteroid. So it cycles. It does not function like a planet. It's not like equal in how long it spends in each sign and things like that. But the last time Juno went retrograde, we also had an eclipse. So from how I view this is, and it was also during the eclipses that hit at the end of March and the beginning of April. So to me, if you had any love things that happened in between March and April, March to May of last year, it can be bringing a lot of the same themes back. Either it will bring the same person back, I was about to say heaven forbid, but I don't know your story, so maybe you want that to happen. Whatever's meant to happen will happen, okay? It could bring the same themes, same lessons, same opportunity but maybe now you can have a chance for a different ending. Juno, if you're not familiar, is the asteroid of marriage, soul contracts, and divine unions. I love it. And honestly, I will tell you, it is so underrated in terms of its ability to actually tell me and tell astrologers about love, marriage in someone's chart. So really, old relationship wounds could be resurfacing, particularly around commitment, trust, and fairness. And karmic partnerships could be realigning. Some will end, some will deepen. Whatever is not meant to be, though, will fall out, and whatever is meant to be will enter. Okay, the fact that we have the two big celestial bodies of love, Venus and Juno, the two biggest things that I, as an astrologer, personally look at, well, besides also seventh house ruler, but that's different for each person's chart. I mean, as like what actual planet that is. But the fact that the two biggest, indicators of love and marriage are going to both be retrograde during an eclipse, which brings life-changing things, means that for a lot of you, there will be big love shifts. And these are not necessarily bad at all. They could be good things, but there is, because of both of them will be in retrograde, there is a theme of looking back for some reason. It could be looking back to learn. It could be old wounds coming to the surface. It could be someone from the past. It could be the same story repeating itself. Now you have a chance to change it. These kind of themes, right? But Juno is really about soulmates, okay? And eclipses is really about fated event. And Virgo, by the way, yes, people always talk about Virgo being about health and health and planning and day in and day out and work and service. But service is a vibration of love. And Virgo is the Virgin, okay? And she sits opposing Pisces. Pisces is idealism, and Pisces is the second most romantic archetype after Libra, Libra being the most of the energies. Libra is the most romantic. Libra is the lovers. Libra is marriage. But Pisces is the second most romantic after Libra. And Pisces is seeing the whole entire world with rose-colored, lovey-dovey glasses. I'm a Pisces ascendant and a Libra sun, hence my love of love, and a Virgo moon and a Virgo Venus. Anyway, so in a way, even though the Pisces-Virgo axis is not traditionally necessarily, most astrologers will say love, no, of course, but it heavily talks about that. Virgo, the Virgin, loves love, but she loves it in a way that is acts of service, and she loves nurturing. And Pisces loves love just for loving love, even if it's not about the person, and sees the whole world in a lens of love. And they sit on the same axis. So the Venus and Juno retrograde happening at the same time as this eclipse in Virgo, I think there's a very strong love theme. And with Mercury retrograde also beginning during this eclipse, this could literally, something can happen in the sense of conversations from the past may suddenly resurface. You could be getting texts or phone calls or emails from someone from the past, or from something or someone that triggers a new relationship or a love connection. But this is also a time where miscommunications in relationships could be very possible. So be careful with that. Like I would advise phone calls over, over like texts or emails for things that have to do with major emotions or major decisions. If you are waiting for the clarity about a relationship, or if from now the feeling has really started to stir up, this eclipse will show you the truth. But it may not take until maybe the end of April for full understanding. So just take things slow. Divine partnerships are really realigning. Between these two going retrograde, Mercury retrograde, which is the ruler of this eclipse, Venus, Pisces, but then Aries, Libra getting activated in the next eclipse, it just is screaming divine partnerships, okay, which is part of the awakening of the planet. Divine unions are supposed to be coming together, which I don't want to get too much into this big karmic level of what's happening, but, there are dark forces on this planet, and they work in many ways. And part of what they want to do is stop lovers, divine unions, from coming together. Because what happens when two divine union, like they come and make a union, two divine lovers, they have an ability to shift the entire consciousness of the planet much further than an individual or than an individual does, because love is so much more powerful. Love truly is the answer. And with these eclipses, this is trying to push unions together. But that being said, if you're not with the right person, that's going to come up too. So if someone exits your life around this time, trust that it's meant to happen. At the same time, if someone enters your life at this time, of course, take it with a grain of salt, and I'll tell you why, but that also in some way or another was fated. Expect shocking relationship shifts, sudden reunions, sudden breakups, sudden engagements, sudden revelations about how someone's stealing or about even what your heart truly feels. Maybe you've been ignoring your heart for a while, and then suddenly you can't run away from that feeling anymore. This is really a karmic turning point in love. So let go of what no longer serves you and make space for the love that aligns with who you are becoming and the type of divine union you want to come in. Now, not everyone will be meeting their divine union during this time, but that's okay, because there's still going to be this theme of preparing you. In some way or another, this eclipse will prepare you, will bring an important lesson, an important meaning, an important life change, an important ending, an important shift, an important beginning that will bring you to your union. Okay? Now, why did I say if someone comes in at this time, just take it with a grain of salt, okay? It doesn't mean they're not your soulmate. Your soulmate may very well come in, and if they do, please let me know. Like, please write in the comments, oh my God, I met my soulmate during this time, like you said. But why I say be careful is because the ruler of this eclipse, Mercury, is in retrograde. Retrograde asks us to slow down. Mercury's intellectualization and communication, but also retrograde looks to the back and is a kind of disorienting energy. And Venus, the planet of love and beauty, and also money and values and arts, I could go on, will also be in retrograde. And then Juno, the asteroid of marriage, commitment, and soul union, will enter retrograde. So that's 3 retrogrades in a row. And that's just making me think, slow down. I'll tell you something personal. Last year, it was literally the day of or the day after the April eclipse, and Juno was in retrograde. And I met someone that truly, for the first time in my life, I understood what people meant by you meet someone and they feel like you've known them before and you feel like they're a soulmate from the moment you meet them. I've never felt that before because, I mean, I feel, of course, a lot, but I'm normally guarded at the beginning and I'm pretty logical. My muggle job is, literally to be a mental health and life coach, which often extends to dating and trauma, which I'm certified to actually work with. And so I can, how it makes me approach dating, even though once the heart opens, very mushy-gushy, but at the beginning, very logical. But in this case, it was not that at all. It truly felt like what you think an eclipse, with a Juno theme would feel like. And they were truly everything I ever thought I ever wanted in a person. And things happened so fast. But as fast as they were to happen, it was also very fast to end. Okay. And I didn't handle it how I would normally handle things. And because it was an eclipse, it shifted my life deeply. And I should, as an astrologer, should have known better because it happened during a Juno retrograde. So someone came in that literally looked like my personification of everything I've ever wanted in a divine partner. I mean, my list is like 150 items, and this person was literally like, I don't know, 99% of them. Synchronicities like crazy. Truly, it felt like that. But Juno was in retrograde. Now, it does not mean if you meet someone and it's Juno retrograde at the same time that it's not meant to be. Not at all. It could be a false start energy, but I don't want to instill false hope in anyone because no one should wait for anyone that makes the choice to step away from you. Okay. So, yes, if I am just purely speaking objectively, this could look like meeting someone and it feels like your love of your past life coming into this life to become the love of this life. And it's your divine counterpart, your divine union, your soulmate, your twin flame, whatever word you want to use, and everything you've ever dreamed of. And you're on the same page and things are going amazing. And it's so fast. And he wants to, or she wants to, I don't know, go to the next level. And you've never felt like this before. And he says, he's never felt like this before. And then suddenly, 1 month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, it just boom, suddenly falls apart. But you've never opened your heart like this. So it ends up totally shifting and changing your life. That, but then maybe 3 years down the line, they come back, or 6 months down the line at the next eclipse cycle, or 1 year down the line at the next eclipse, like annual time frame, or 2 years, or whatever. So sometimes Juno or Venus retrograde, something starting during a retrograde could either be not the right thing starting, or could mean someone from the past coming back. So something old restarting. That's a very common interpretation. But I have seen it often also to be a false start. A false start is when you meet the right person, but I hate wrong time, because the coach side of me, right, says the wrong time equals the wrong person, because the right person will not let it be the wrong time. He will choose you regardless and make it work. But the spiritualist side of me believes in false starts, because I see it in the astrology, right? And a false start could literally be the right person but the wrong time, and it's not starting how it was supposed to. I mean, it started how it's supposed to in the sense that it was fated, right? But you're supposed to be together and then it ends. That's a false start. But a false start indicates that you will come back together. So new loves can sometimes go down. If new love starting in a retrograde can go down the false start path, or it could just be someone from the past coming back and then it's great, you're together. Or it could just be signs of the right person, but not the actual right person. Or it could be the right person and the right time, but it's just a lot of obstacles at the beginning to get you guys together in a way. And then, so it'll be a lot of hard energy at the beginning, not necessarily bad. Maybe you're long distance. Maybe you don't know you both like each other until the retrograde ends and you talk about it. And then down the line, it becomes a lot smoother. What I would advise you, this is going more into like dating coaching, but I would listen to the 3-month rule. This is not my advice as an astrologer, but as an astrologer, it actually aligns, because then Venus will no longer be in retrograde and Juno will no longer be in retrograde, and you'll be out of the emotional Uranian effect of this eclipse that will make things want to go really fast. In 3 months, they say what is like 3 months is kind of past the initial hormonal boom explosion. And if someone is going to peace out, or if someone is not ready for commitment, but they don't know it yet, the 3 months is the indicator. So wait until after 3 months. If it's going to explode, it will explode before the 3 months end. If it's going to last, it'll last until the 3 months end. Of course, I cannot tell you what to do, and I do not normally like rules. But if I really had to advise honestly, you of course could choose to listen. I would take intimacy slowly. I would use discernment. I would pay attention to red flags. And I would, if someone's trying to lead things very fast, even if you feel it, I would just very sweetly and gently try to slow things down, just to be a little bit more grounded. And 3 months is a really good indicator. If something starts during a Venus-Juno retrograde and is going to explode, it will likely implode within 3 months. Okay. Let's see. Any other points? I think that's it. This has been maybe a longer than usual collective reading forecast, but that's because this is a gigantic eclipse in terms of that it's starting a chain effect, a dominoes effect of really crazy celestial stuff unrolling the next few months. You've heard my predictions, so when did these come true? Just like Bitcoin and Trump and a few other things I predicted. Come back and tell me, or tell others, and send them to this channel. And as always, if you'd like to have a very personal, detailed, accurate reading, I need to actually get my hands on your chart. And you can schedule with me in the bio. You'll get my links there. You can also buy a gift. And I'm also, especially because I'm a new channel, running pretty frequent giveaways. To enter that, all you have to do is subscribe and comment, and any additional comment counts as additional entry. Any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. And without further ado, now you can go look for your rising sign / your ascendant, your sun, and your moon. And if you don't know what your rising sign is, you can calculate that online for free. But you do need to have your birth time and your birth city / town for the coordinates. And the birth time has to be accurate. I would say maximum within 10 minutes, maybe within like max 15, but anything beyond 10 minutes on either way, which is 20 minutes total, I, as an astrologer, would be nervous to work with that, because to do predictive things and to really be accurate, you really need an accurate-ish birth time. I actually offer, don't do this, but I've developed my own process for birth time rectification, which will help us identify your birth time if you do not have it, but you have kind of a multi-hour range to work with. And you can schedule that with me if you're interested as well. Okay, anything else? I think that's it. Sorry again that I'm sick. I hope it doesn't sound too bad. I hope it doesn't look too bad either. But yeah, okay. Enjoy your sign by sign. Hello, Aries, and welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo forecast. If you have not, man, I know I say this a lot, but I really, really mean it this time and every single time too. But you should really listen to the beginning of this video, because you're to really understand what this eclipse is shifting for your life and for the people around you and for the whole entire world, generation, collective. Listen to the intro. Okay, I talk about everything from aliens to love to conspiracy theories. It's a blast. To emotions to physical ailments, like it's all there. So go listen to that. But this eclipse, depending on where you are in the world, will be starting on March 13th and going on till March 14th, or will just be happening on March 14th at 11:26 p.m. PST until 12:31 a.m. PST. It will end on a Friday. Thank you for the commenter who saw my mistake last time when I was talking about the days of the week. The eclipse ending on Friday this time means it ends on Venus Day, and that rules love. And it's happening at 23 degrees of Virgo. And Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, is actually turning retrograde in Aries, in your sign, at the exact moment of this eclipse, the exact day, on March 14th. Wow. Wow for you, right? So before we start, please subscribe and like if this video resonates. It means so much to me, and it really helps me out so much as the new channel. Comment any comments, tips, questions, appreciations, anything at all. I try to read them all for sure. Sometimes it takes me a few days because of work. And also, if you have subscribed in the past or you will in the future, then every comment after a subscription counts as an entry to enter in to win a chance to win a free reading with me. I will be pulling a winner every 4 weeks / every month. And we have 2 videos left before I pull the next winner. And every additional comment, again, is an additional entry. So the more you comment, the more chances you have to win. And then once I pull a winner, the cycle resets. Okay, so March is one of the most life-changing months of the entire year. And this eclipse is just the beginning of a huge transition. I'm just looking at it now that's playing out until May. So for you, this eclipse is shifting things when it comes to your health. Don't freak out. It's totally fine. Shifting things when it comes to your health, your work, your daily responsibilities, your personal discipline, your routines. It is bringing to you somehow a wake-up call for your body, your habits, your responsibilities. Many Aries may suddenly be getting sick. It could just be a little taster of what this eclipse represents, because eclipses, the theme will be active, or the life changes will be active for 6 months after, until the next pair of eclipses. But you could be feeling it, and the energy building up could be starting from the beginning of February, 1 month before to a month after. And Aries, especially for you, because the second eclipse in March will be in Aries. So you're probably feeling very intensely right now, or you genuinely could be getting sick a lot, or you could be really focusing on your health, redoing your daily structure, something like that. For some Aries may suddenly be quitting a job or taking on a new responsibility, or realizing that your current lifestyle is somehow not sustainable. For some Aries, they're going to be wanting like a cleanse from this with this Virgoan energy. Then this eclipse could be really sometimes highlighting what's toxic, what's misaligned, or no longer working in your life. Some Aries will be feeling very physically drained, under the weather, or will experience body sensitivity. If that's the case, then the best way for you to deal with this energy coming up during this eclipse is rest. A rest is a non-negotiable. And let's see, did I skip anything? Sorry, if you missed the intro, I'm really, really sick, and I otherwise would not be recording, but I know you guys are feeling this eclipse already, so I really wanted to. Yeah, and so with this, with Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, being retrograde in Aries at the exact moment of the eclipse, but then it will move into Pisces, your identity, your self-image, and personal decisions, and your creed, your I am statement could be coming under review. You could be feeling uncertain about your appearance, your body, how you dress, how you look, or how you present yourself to the world, and there could be big changes coming here. You could be getting a lot of like suggestions or nudges from the universe around you into ways and tips of how to change this. And how you view yourself could directly impact what shifts when it comes to your health. What I mean is all of that first house stuff, your appearance, your looks, the way you dress, your makeup, maybe even plastic surgery for some, maybe even just having a whole glow up, even personality glow up for others. This could somehow be the reason. This could propel the change that you suddenly have in your routine, in your new health routine, and how you approach your health and how you approach your day-to-day life, your work life, etc. Or vice versa, some kind of a change in health and daily work life could suddenly bring a change in your physical looks, your appearance, or how you want to be perceived. You could have unexpected obligations or new work schedules, or you could feel called to declutter and reorganize your life. There could be some kind of change or sudden rehaul of routines. You could be testing out different appearance changes, such as revisiting an old look, cutting hair, changing wardrobes, or feeling like you need a refresh but aren't sure what. And then old issues could somehow be resurfacing. Either way, whatever is being removed or introduced during the eclipse is bringing space for personal rebirth and for you to improve your health, even if it may initially look like a big health crisis or some kind of a sickness. For some Aries, right, because this is a full moon at the end of the day, if you have been dealing with a health crisis or a bad health pattern, you could suddenly have a positive shift towards that ending, or you could suddenly be finding a solution or big help when it comes to that. Either way, this is a final detox before a beautiful next chapter for you begins. Take care of your body, trust and listen to it, and trust whatever comes up. Trust the process and let what needs to go fall away, and let what it is showing you be shown if it is no longer good for you. Taurus, suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo forecast. The eclipse will be at 23 degrees of Virgo. Just a disclaimer, this is actually, I lost all my video, about a couple hours of recording, so I'm redoing this. It's not going to be, sadly, as long as the first one, but I believe everything happens for a reason. So whatever is meant to come through will come through, but I just might not have as many reminders and admin stuff and things said throughout this time. So, and even details about the eclipse. So this is the time that you should really go watch the collective, because anyway, I go into so much detail there, but now more than ever, that it's important. So the eclipse is happening on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST until March 14th, 12:31 a.m. PST. For most of the world, the eclipse will be happening on March 14th. And what's really fascinating about this eclipse is Mercury, the ruler of the eclipse, will actually turn retrograde in Aries on March 14th, the day of the eclipse itself. Taurus, for you, this eclipse is bringing new beginnings, endings, or shifts when it comes to your flings, your romance life, your artistic passions, your personal confidence. You could have a romantic chapter end or evolve, or some relationships will be tested while others deepen. For some people, you could be wanting to take relationships to the next level. If you've been feeling a creative block or a block in self-expression or embodying yourself, this eclipse will either bring you clarity all of a sudden or will push you to tense that. You could be feeling an intense emotional purge. For some of you Taurus risings, if you want to have children, this could be the time where you're able to make that happen, get pregnant, or this could be a time where it's a focus in your life or there's some kind of a change in that, or the time connecting to your inner child. For some Tauruses, you could be starting a business and there could be big strides there, or you could be starting a new hobby or a new passion or picking up an artistic project you dropped in the past, and there's big strides or unblocks or changes or endings or things like that happen there. With the connection of the ruler and what the ruler of the eclipse is doing at this time, a lot of the stuff that could be happening with romance, with flings, with passion, with self-expression, with children, you could see that there's a sudden link to your mental health, to your emotional health, and to your spirituality. And so at this time, hidden emotions, subconscious patterns, and unresolved love wounds may resurface. Be careful, because this could create some communication issues when it comes to communicating with potential flings, potential partners, or with anyone involved with your artistic projects, or also, things like that. But what great advice for you is to channel anything you're feeling emotionally, spiritually, mentally into your artistic projects. The way you think about love, pleasure, personal expression, and the link between spirituality, emotion, your mental health, and joy and romance could make itself clear to you. You could experience vivid dreams, nostalgia, deep emotional introspection. The eclipse will force you to acknowledge them. You could be having a big creative breakthrough, big creative awakenings. You could release fear of judgment. You could have if there's any unfinished business in love, like an ex or an old crush or unresolved romantic emotions may come up. You could be having strong intuition and synchronicities. A lot of you, if you had a fling, it honestly could have just ended because it wasn't the right one. And, or for others, you could be meeting someone. You could be focusing on dating again and going back into dating. Let's see, you could be launching a new passion project, putting yourself out there more. You could be feeling very isolated, even though you could actually be putting yourself out there a lot. Or you feeling isolated is what it encourages you to put yourself out a lot and to explore different hobbies and passions. And just surrender. That's the best thing you can do. Surrender. Taurus, I'm going to give you extra props because you have withstood me raging during your reading. So thank you. I've surrendered. You can't do much. You just have to look at what you're being dealt with and go from there. Hello, Gemini. Gemini suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo that is happening on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. to March 14th at 12:31 a.m. PST. For most for most people in the world, it will be happening at March 14th. My brain is going 500 miles an hour, very Gemini, so I know you can keep up, because I actually lost hours of recording. This is my second time doing this, and I'm sick. I shouldn't even be recording. I'm just doing that because I want to get this video out for you guys, because I know a lot of you are already feeling the effect of these eclipses. And so I'm sorry if if this is a lot shorter than it will be was the first time, but also I think my energy the first time was a lot peppier. And now my energy is absolutely no walking on eggshells. It's two different energies. Okay. So for you, and please do not skip. I don't want to, normally I have so many messages in each sign by sign. All I'm going to say this time is do not skip the intro. It's very important. It's because I'm not repeating a lot of the things this time, because I'm not doing another 20 minutes per sign, sadly, because the reading is gone. But, just please listen to the intro for your own sake, not for mine, for your own sake. You'll know more about the timing, about a lot of stuff, eclipses, how you'll feel it, all these things. So go back, listen to the intro. All right. So for you, Gemini, there's going to be big shifts in your home life. You could be moving countries, moving cities, just moving apartments, moving within the same city. Renovations. You could be renovating where you live. You could be buying real estate or a new home. You could be having a lot of family events that are, eclipses are life-changing. So this is all life-changing stuff that is coming in each person's life. And so it could be really big family events. Or it could be, excuse me, the sickness, or it could be something happens at these events, something very monumental. It's a very important time for your family, etc. Or you could, there's also a shift in your emotional stability. Maybe you make big breakthroughs in some way. Your inner emotional world is transforming, and this could lead you to redefine what home and stability mean for you. You could be uncovering family secrets, ancestral patterns, or repressed childhood memories that come up for a reason, whether it's healing or closure or coming together as a family. You could be changing who you live with if it's not family, whether it's a partner or friends or roommates or something like that. You could be having some kind of hiccups in your home, like things going wrong or breaking. Like, for example, if you live in a boat, your boat could have mechanical issues. If you live in a house, it could be having an inspector come in and something happens. You could have a leak, whatever. or you could just decide to renovate and change it. You could also be having a review for yourself of friendships, social circles, long-term goals. You could be evaluating where you are right now in terms of your friends and your soul tribe and your community and where you live, if it really aligns with who you are and matches who you want to be. You could be rethinking your place in a community or social group. Some of you might actually be losing friends, or some might reconnect with friends or miss old friends. Some of you may feel more called to call in your soul tribe or to be with your soul tribe. And so this could actually be some of the things that causes the changes in your living situation, or going to your hometown, or changing where you live, or something like that. For some of you, you could be reevaluating your dreams, and it could be like a really old dream that you had. And this could also be making you reevaluate things about your living or family. Maybe your family affected you not pursuing your dream in the past, and now you're deciding to pursue it. This is really indicative that a dream or goal or vision from the past may resurface. And this could actually trigger some kind of a change of where you live in a move. Maybe it's the dream of, I always wished I could buy a house, or live by the beach, or be a nomad, or things like that. Moving or changing how you live, or things like that, or reconnecting with people from the past, your hometown, your family, could actually result in you meeting people who feel more soul aligned, or reconnecting with your dream, or making friends that more fit. If you're feeling temporarily disconnected from your friends or usual support system, there's a need to go inwards before realigning. All in all, whether you're revisiting an old friendship, or reconnecting with someone you lost, or feeling the need to isolate temporarily, or needing time to process things deeper, or rethinking long-term dreams and who you align with, or calling in your soul tribe, or changing where you live, or having house issues, or getting a new home, or signing a new place, or maybe the landlord comes and says that your lease is up and you weren't expecting it, or maybe there's some family event or revelation or breaking away from old emotional pattern. Whatever is happening, whichever one of those it is. By the way, it could also be like a change in a job that leads to you having to change home, or you being able to afford somewhere new, something like that. Just know that everything that's being removed is making place for new foundations that will be better foundations in your emotional life and in your personal life when it comes to relating with other people. This solar eclipse energy will redirect your social path, your ambitions, and who you align with. So honor what needs to be released so you can move forward with clarity and strength. Hello, Cancer. Cancer rising, suns, and moons. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo forecast. The lunar eclipse is happening on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. to 12:31 a.m. PST on March 14th. So for the majority of the world, since the time I just gave was PST, it will be happening on March 14th. The lunar eclipse is exactly at 23 degrees of Virgo. Trust me, you do not want to miss the beginning of this video, especially because that is the only thing that survived, because all of my all signs videos were deleted, and it was absolutely hours of recordings. So this is the second time I'm recording. I'm really sad about it, but we're going through and everything happens for a reason. But because of that, in a lot of the all signs, I repeat some of the key things like the timing and when things will roll out and what to expect and the dates of the, all this stuff. So I really recommend go listen to the collective, because I'm not going to be repeating as much in each sign. So Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, is actually turning retrograde on March 14th, the day of the eclipse, which is very interesting. And it's very symbolic, and it tells me a lot about what you should be expecting. March is going to be one of the most life-changing months of the year, and the eclipses and what's happening in that month, which you can also check out at the beginning, is super, super life-changing. For you, dear Cancer, this eclipse could be really shifting things to do with your mindset, your perspective, your communication style. Now, remember that eclipses bring about fated events. It's normally, and around eclipse, the emotions are very heightened. And around the eclipse as well, people tend to get very intuitive downloads. Especially you, Cancer, you're very intuitive. And so when I talk about the areas in your life where you could be seeing these things unfold, it's like in a big way somehow, or in a really faded way somehow, or even if the way doesn't seem big initially, it's bringing about something that's very powerful for your growth and for your overall purpose in general, and that's going to bring big things for you. You could also, see something change in the lives of your siblings or your neighbors that somehow impacts your life. Maybe it could be as simple as going to visit a sibling, or a sibling comes and visits you, or your relationship with them changes, or things come up for you guys to heal, or just something big in their life, or you have, some kind of changes in that way. Some of you could be buying a car, or something with your car could happen. Heaven forbid that it's nothing bad. Here, transportation, automobile, your daily routines, and your local environment is kind of highlighted in a way that might temporarily be unstable or due for an upgrade. For some of you, if you rely on social media in any way, whether it's for your business, for your hobbies, for your passions, for your career, for your profession, whatever, there could be something like a breakthrough happening here, or a sudden change in how you do things, how you run things, or something to do with that. For some people, it could be annoying things like issues with your account. For other people, it could be breakthroughs. If you've had that in the past, it gets fixed, or something suddenly going viral. If you feel called to start some kind of a social media page or some kind of a small business or an endeavor, this eclipse will also push that forward. And it would, if you're feeling that call right now, then the alignment in your chart is also indicating for that as well. Especially because for a lot of you, you're rethinking your career, your ambitions, your public image, and something about that changing is going to shift how you communicate, how you show up in your daily life, and how, like, what you write, what you create, and social media, even what you put out there. So a lot of you are reconsidering new career paths, leadership roles, how you're seen by others, and so that's something that could change as well. For a few of you, be aware of communication delays or misunderstandings in professional matters or with what you post on social media. No big deal. Just think through things a little, and something that you should plan for. For some of you, a work-related project, announcement, or plan could be postponed or restructured. For some of you, a public recognition or visibility could temporarily shift. Maybe an old opportunity could come up. Maybe, like I said, you could go viral, or maybe things feel like they slowed down. But if that's the case, it's happening. So it gives you an opportunity to reshift and recalibrate in ways that it's a better fit. For some of you, changes in how you communicate, whether it's rethinking a blog, social media presence, public messaging, doing some kind of a writing course, or doing some kind of a different offering, or signing up for maybe like a speaking course or something like that. There's some kind of a change and an upgrade over here. For some of you, you'll be having very deep conversations or emotional closure that shifts the way you think and kind of show up in your daily life. And for some of you, you could be getting a new client or career opportunity that resurfaces, maybe somehow linked to the past or something. For some of you, you could be having issues with scheduling, tech issues. And for others of you, you'll be traveling around your area a little more, maybe taking like a little day trip or like little trips nearby that trigger something new in you in a way. Just know that whatever happens in this time is making space for a career breakthrough, especially because of what the next eclipse is bringing, and is somehow going to be linked and building baby steps to putting you more on your purpose. So this is like a final reset of how you express yourself, how you handle communication, how you show up in the world, how you communicate with others. And for others, that's kind of the main general thing. Again, it depends on each person's chart. For others, this could just be based on something as micro as your siblings or your car. But this is the part of the world that you'll be seeing changes in. Hello, Leos, suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon eclipse in Virgo video. This is the second time I do this because I lost all of the videos, so I'm sorry that this is the second take. Because of this, I really recommend you listen to the intro, because I go into a lot of important detail about the timing of the eclipse, when events will roll out, and everything like that. I have been talking for hours, so I may miss some of the things I repeat in the all signs, but the intro is the original one. And it was the only thing that survived. So go back and listen to that, because it's very important. Plus, I talk about aliens, and who doesn't want to hear that, right? So this eclipse is at 23 degrees of Virgo, happening on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST until March 14th, 12:31 a.m. PST. For the majority of the world, this is just March 14th. And what's very interesting is that the ruler of this eclipse, Mercury, will actually be turning retrograde in Aries on March 14th, the day of the eclipse. This is huge in terms of how it'll change the way that the energy is showing up for you. Okay. Other disclaimer, by the way, I'm very sick, but I'm just recording this because it's important to get the message out there, because I know some of you are already feeling this eclipse. So please pardon if I sound very congested, which I know I do. Okay, so For you, Leo, this eclipse is going to be bringing changes when it comes to sudden changes, sudden shifts, things that are fated. It could be fated beginnings, fated endings, and fated redirections that have to do with your money, your income, your resources, and your self-worth. And I know, when we talk about money, people freak out a lot, and I totally understand if that's the case, right? But I just want you to know that with eclipses, things could seem hard at first, but they really benefit you somehow. They're redirecting you somehow. Last year, I had a client who had an eclipse in their second house. They were hoping, because one interpretation could be that they're going to gain money, right? But depending on their chart, I saw in their chart, it was a bit more neutral. It wasn't coming in straight much as a blessing. Same thing is for you. This money, real estate, asset change could be coming in a what seems like positive way, or what seems like neutral or harder way. But what you don't realize is in the end, it's all actually beneficial. So with the example of this client, all of a sudden they eclipse at their second house, and it's like all of their bills that are not even related shot up exponentially. And all of a sudden their cost of living per month shot up so high. And then they found out they owed more taxes than they thought they had owed. They found another bill that was overdue. It just kind of kept happening like this for the 10 days before the eclipse up until 10 days after. And it seemed bad at first. They were expecting it though. I mean, I had said financial shifts when I talked to them. But then what ended up happening is they had kind of been neglecting working on their own business, which was their main source of income. So when that had happened, it was like the fire under their bum that they needed to make them really, really focus. And this actually ended up making them serious about budgeting, serious about saving. It kind of made them rethink what they were also spending their money on. And they actually were able to make bigger strides in their career in the 1 month after all of those bills shot up and their costs shot up than they had done in the entire year prior, just because that money shakeup had kind of shook them up, and that changed their life, right? And not just that, they were supposed to take a vacation the month and a half after, maybe 2, I don't remember. But anyway, they were supposed to take a vacation after, and they chose not to because of all the cost increases. And then they ended up meeting someone because they stayed and they didn't go on their trip. So what I'm trying to say is their life looked totally different after than before the actual, what was at the time, money losses that the eclipse brought. And those initial money losses, now 1 year later, actually made their net worth and their income more because of the changes that they enacted after those money losses. So I go all of this to say is this might happen to you. You might be the person who gets a income change in a positive direction, or you gets like your stocks shoot up or your assets shoot up, or you invest in a business and you have a new investment opportunity, or you could be, or a new project or something new, right? Or your side business starts doing well. Or you could also be the person who suddenly has some kind of a sudden money loss, whether it's increase in taxes and bills, in debt, in loans, paying out a friend, paying back something, or maybe people who rely on you. But either way, even if it seems initially hard at the beginning, it's bringing a more positive shift in the end. Some of you are neither of those, but you're just rethinking how you budget, or you're rethinking how you invest, or there's a shift in your priorities, or you're realizing what truly holds value and where you may need more stability, or you are releasing scarcity mindset, financial fears, or unhealthy money habits, and things could be happening internally and externally that are forcing these changes on you. Or you're also reevaluating your self-worth, because in spirituality, money is directly tied to your self-worth. So if you have self-worth issues or poor self-worth, and those are informing the limiting beliefs you have around money and finances, that can really affect you actually making money. For a lot of you, a lot of these things is somehow tying back to your future goals, to possible education or long-term academic or career progression changes, or to travel. There is a link here between something higher and money. So some of you as well, this could be relocation, moving countries, or it could be a long distance relationship that is causing you to shift your priorities or values or finances or investments, or publishing or writing or something like that. Some of you are having spiritual or philosophical beliefs that will be shifting in this time and leading to a new perspective. This could lead to a change in how you view money and finances in the material world and your assets and your investment and stability. stability. Some of you could be feeling temporarily uncertain about long-term financial or life directions. Some of you could be having delays or revisions when it comes to visas, higher education, immigration. Some of you could be planning a big travel trip, or maybe a little digital nomading stint. Is that the word? Stint, not stunt. Or going to some, like otherwise spiritual retreat, or just a big trip that actually ends up giving you deep reflections on purpose, and ends up with you feeling called to explore something bigger, or questions your old views, or changes your life purpose. And there's a shift with this somehow, and the financial budget aspect. So however things change, if you're feeling called to travel, to budget towards vacation, to budget towards money, to budget towards moving internationally, to get a job abroad, to get a remote job so you can start working nomadically, to start dating that long distance person, but then you have to save more to cover the cost of flying. I don't know, things like this. Follow your intuition, follow your heart, follow your gut, because everything that's happening now is happening for a reason. Second house is also a lot of real estate. So you could be feeling called to purchase investments in real estate, or to go into real estate business-wise. Remember that if anything is being removed at this time, it's making space for something bigger, or it's doing it to push you to go towards the direction that will actually be better for you. And that if anything actually enters in this time, it is in the long run better for you. Hello, Virgos, Virgo ascendants, Virgo suns, and Virgo moons. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo. It is happening in your sign. Yes, that is a big deal. On March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST to March 14th at 12:31 a.m. PST is the exact timing of this eclipse, and it will be at 23 degrees of Virgo. But the effect will be felt from the beginning of February until the end of May, because it's a whole eclipse window followed by another eclipse. To understand exactly what I'm saying and the full impact, please listen to the beginning of this video, to the collective part, because I go into the details of the timing, the unfolding of the events, the aspects, and my predictions for the collective, which could apply to you, but will definitely apply to everyone. And it's even more important to listen to it now, because this is my second take of all the videos. I actually lost hours of recording, and so I apologize. I have a feeling that my retakes of the all signs are not going to be as long as the original. But the beginning part survived the original, so go back and listen to that, because it will give you a lot more detail. So Virgo, for you, you're actually getting hit. You're getting hit in a big way, because it is hitting your first house. You are Virgo yourself, which means it's an angular point in your chart that's getting hit. It's an angular house. So for you, it's actually the energy of this eclipse, starting from February, going on until the end of April, a little bit beginning of May, is an incredibly heavy buildup. And it's bringing shifts to many aspects and many parts of your life at once. Now, what is also very interesting is Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, is actually turning retrograde on March 14th, the day of the eclipse, in Aries. And then as it will continue retrograde, it will travel back into Pisces, or appear to travel back. And then it will station direct in Pisces. And Pisces is your seventh house, the house of relationships, soul commitments, marriage, contracts, and justice. It's also the house traditionally ruled by Libra. And so this is being hit in multiple ways. Your first house and your seventh house, and also your eighth house of relationships, because the ruler will start in the eighth house and then move to the seventh, but also the second eclipse will be in the eighth house. Okay, what does this translate to? This translates to really big life transformational energy. Who you were at the beginning of February is not going to be the same person at all by the beginning of May. Your life will look very different. If it doesn't look very different, but it honestly, for most people, it will. For most Virgos, it will feel like an entirely different timeline shift. For a lot of you, you are reevaluating or having a lot of things come up in your life, or you're thinking a lot about your personal direction, self-reinvention, who you are, how much you're showing up in integrity and embodiment to that, what you want, your self-image, your identity, your future goals are getting reevaluated. You're feeling this really strong need to redefine your identity, your priorities, your goals. You could be really focusing on glowing up in every aspect, changing your appearance, your self-expression, or being very aware of how others are perceiving you. For some of you, you could be feeling physical and emotional exhaustion. And if so, like deep care and deep self-care and deep rest is very needed. For some of you, you're revisiting things to do with intimacy. Your blood could be feeling extra, hot and bothered? Hot and, whatever. Could be feeling very steamy. Things to do with the 3-letter word that starts with S and ends with X and gets me in trouble on YouTube, could be coming to your mind, into your energy field. For some of you, this could be healing traumas and wounds related to it from the past. For some of you, this could be thinking about it more, and that could cause you to make certain decisions in a certain way. For some of you, you could be having experiences related to that, either with yourself or exploring sacred sensuality or the magic and energy of sensuality and intimacy and passion. For others, it could be causing you to review power dynamics in existing relationships or relationships from the past. And it could cause a reignition with someone from the past. Or for others, it could be a problem. Maybe there's some kind of issue showing up that has to do with sex and intimacy. A lot of you will be undergoing a very deep inner transformation that is taking place. And it kind of will feel like you're entering Hades, entering the underworld, being forced to face your own demons, your own fears, your own shadows, your own limits, where you have played a part in causing yourself hurt and pain and in closing yourself off from intimacy and in closing yourself off from you being the best. Just checking again that the mic's actually catching this time. And this could be what started causing you to have all of these shifts in priorities in the first place. Some of you will be revisiting financial, emotional, or energetic ties to others. Some of you will have a past financial situation, a debt, or an investment resurface. Some of you are really going through a very intense emotional purging, letting go of fears, past wounds, or psychological baggage. For some of you, a deep inner transformation. Like I said, this is like very death and rebirth energy. And the main goal of it is the rebirth, is the reevaluation of the sense of self. I call a lot of this part of your chart that's getting activated the I am, the creed. And so you could be really reevaluating your I am and your creed, and if it still fits the life you want and where you are, and how much your career, your job, things like that could affect what you want in this life, could be affecting how you're showing up in relationships. For a lot of you, you will be one of the people that I mentioned in the beginning that are going to feel the love and relationships effect of this eclipse. Look, Virgos, you made me smile. That's so good. It was really hard to smile after I lost all those videos. But all I have to do is think about love and then everything gets great again. What starts as a personal shift for you could really end up deeply affecting relationships for you. So in all this process of reevaluating your darkness, your weaknesses, your mistakes, your fears, your wounds, and these moments of emotional ups and downs, these moments where you've also been having heightened emotions and maybe deeper connection to spirit, these moments where you've been diving deep into yourself, into the underworld, into Hades and re-emerging, these moments where you've been taking all of that and grinding every day and wondering who you are and how you want to keep living and working on yourself and your fitness and your health and your life and all of this stuff. All of these shifts and changes starts to suddenly affect how you're thinking of feeling when it comes to relationships. You might be realizing how relationships mirror your own internal shifts. You could be having decisions about relationships or commitments that are being called to happen right now. Partnerships, if you're in some, may feel unclear, but if they do, they'll become clearer. For some of you, because of all the Venus retrograde, the ruler of this house retrograde, the shift from the 8th to the 9th, this is really indicating that for some of you, an ex or a past relationship or an old partnership dynamic could resurface, and it could resurface and come back with, the 8th house energy is death and rebirth. It can be a complete rehealing and transformation. And if it does do that, the kind of energy it's coming in with is like this very deep sexual soul merging hot, but a spiritual level hot, pure, intimate, passionate, like very Gomez and Morticia Adams energy. And that's wonderful, you know? So for a lot of you, rethinking your personal priorities, letting go of old versions of yourself, feeling the need to retreat, reset, process deep emotions, going deep within yourself and alchemizing a lot of what doesn't feel good and alchemizing a lot of where you may have sabotaged in the past, or a lot of what's holding you back, or a lot of what's stopping you from making the right relationship decisions, that could be leading to you releasing fears and stepping into a more empowered version of yourself. And then that can transform the concept of relationships for you, or invite new relationships for you. Or if you are in a relationship, it could transform the actual relationship that you are in. If you are one of the people who needs more clarity or more direction, and you're in the seat where you have to be receptive this time, you will be the one receiving some kind of clarity. If you are the one who, for whatever reason, needs to be in the place where you take the action, when it comes to the relationship lack of clarity to bring clarity, then you will feel the clarity internally so strongly that you are able to externally bring clarity to both you and your love interest or romantic partner, depending on which story is yours. So overall, what's being worked through, what's coming up that might seem hard, all of it is making space for very, very deep transformation for you. And trust that all of this shift is guiding you towards a more authentic and empowered version of yourself. And trust that whatever comes up right now, whoever comes up, whatever comes up from the past, whatever intuitive hits that you're getting, whatever dreams you might be having, 8th house, whatever your sensual energy, by that I mean like sexual energy, but I don't want to get, flagged, could be calling you towards, is somehow related to the fate-related change, fate-induced change of this eclipse. Really big times, Virgos. Your life is going to look so different in every single way. And by the way, all of these somehow could even possibly affect things in a positive way when it comes to your career, your purpose. You could have more clarity there. You could have more positive momentum. Even though none of these are directly hitting the house, it's hitting your angular houses of the 1st and the 7th in some ways. Mainly the 1st, but channeling that energy through the 7th, and vice versa. Mainly yourself, but channeling the energy through relationships and vice versa. Because it's an angular house, you're going to see changes in everything. And once you go through a lot of this death and rebirth energy, a lot of this purging of the dark, purging of the wounds, purging of what's holding back, a lot of refixing what's right, then and realigning, then all the other parts of your chart, the angular parts, will start to flow better. And so for you, that's the untouched part that we talked about, which is career and purpose, and then also home and where you live and sense of security and family and things like this. Listen to the intro because I talk about my predictions for the collective. It covers everything from ETs to potential 2020s resurfacing to love. The one thing I talk about is with all these retrogrades, no matter how it's hitting each person's chart, there is this energy for each person to look to the past. Look to the past, whether it's learning from the past, or whether it's past life connections, whether it's someone from your past, or whether it's lessons from the past re-emerging, or there's something here about karmic from the past, or fixing something from the past, or something from the past re-emerging with these transits during this eclipse. It's a big death and rebirth energy for you. So it's even emphasizing that even more. It's like a renaissance in some ways. Overall, very, very good things. Hello, Libras, Libra suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo video. The eclipse is happening on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST, exactly until March 14th at 12:31 a.m. PST. So for the majority of the world, it will actually just be March 14th. And what's very interesting about this eclipse happening at 23 degrees of Virgo is that the ruler of the eclipse, Mercury, will actually be starting retrograde the exact same day, March 14th, that we have the eclipse. That's really big. The retrograde will start in Aries, but then will end in Pisces. For you, Libra, I feel very sorry just because This is the second time I actually record the all signs portion. I've lost hours of videos. And for you, the last time, your video, I straight up was channeling. I looked at your chart, but then it was totally off of that. I started channeling. I connected to someone's energy that I could feel that is watching this, and that really, I will say the same message, but I'm just sorry that you're missing that, because it ended up being the longest out of all the all signs videos last time. It was over 20 minutes. It's just the second time I do this today, so forgive me. It might not be as long, but stay, because this message I know is very important for you. And please, as well, listen to the beginning of this. The beginning is the original. It's the only thing that survived. And in the beginning, I give a lot of other details, and that could be very, very applicable to you. So please do listen to that. Even if parts of the beginnings, even if I talk about topics that may not interest you, but just like listen, because there's probably a message for you there. Okay. So for you, I know that where this eclipse is hitting is very hard. And I could really feel that the last time. I mean, I see it in the chart, but I could feel it. I could feel that someone watching this video is going through a very hard time right now. And I even thought of a commenter on the last video mentioned they were a Libra rising, and that they just felt like things were just not going well for them nonstop, and that they just could not take any more. If you are listening to this, and also if any other Libra is feeling the same way, it's not you, and you are definitely not alone. And I don't want you to think you are alone. So what's been happening is, well, many things. I can't see each person's individual chart, right? But what's been happening in a general level is we are currently changing the axis of eclipses that we are on. Excuse me, I'm very sick as well, but I still want to record this video because I know someone needs to hear it. And so before we were on the Libra Aries axis, which would have hit you so hardly with eclipses each time. And since September, the axis started to shift to Virgo Pisces. This is the first one where we have the first full moon in Virgo, but then it will also hit another eclipse on the Aries Libra, which for you is really hard because it hits your house, the first house, the house of self, but it'll directly be hitting either your ascendant or your sun or your moon, depending on which one you are. And then also stuff to do with your relationships. Now here, this is hitting your 12th house and your 6th house. And when we shift into Virgo Pisces, and this means mental health, emotional health, isolation, your own worst demons, your own inner fears, your weaknesses, your internal mind, where we become our own worst enemies. But it's also connection to spirit, it's intuition, it's other realms, and it's connection to all of that. And a lot of people, when their 12th houses get eclipsed, it can start off as a very emotionally overwhelming time, and you might even feel like, I don't know why it feels like this. It feels so much worse than it actually is. For some of you, because 12th house also represents endings, this could be triggered or brought on by a lot of things seemingly ending or seeming like the door is closing on so many things at once. This pattern of things that are happening, of the eclipses, of the emotions and the feelings that are rising up, are coming up to shine a light on your subconscious patterns, on your hidden beliefs, on your hidden emotions, are bringing endings that are supposed to happen, on your what's holding you back, on your emotional blocks, on very deep-seated buried truths that could now be resurfacing. This could leave you with your emotions and your intuition incredibly heightened, even if you don't realize that it's your intuition that could be heightened. And you could feel like a whole chapter or many chapters of your life at once are closing, whether it's a relationship, a situation, a job, or a habit, or an internal release. So in this time, I know it must feel incredibly hard, and for a lot of you, it might even feel incredibly isolating, whether or not you are self-isolating by choice, or whether or not it's not by choice, but you just feel that way. You could feel really nostalgic, really drained, really tired, really hopeless, some of you, but really just hang in there, because a lot of this is helping you release energy to make space for something new. A lot of this is to help you, not to sound stereotypical, but to help you expand and to raise consciousness. pay attention a lot to the thoughts that are coming up, to the dreams, the synchronicities, the gut feelings, because this eclipse is really revealing things that you may not have been aware of before. And the energy around this eclipse is very much like a spiritual awakening or a dark night of the soul, or feeling like things are breaking down, but it ends up building a more stronger and more aligned and more embodied version of you that ever existed and did not exist before. For some of you, because this is actually showing up in your sixth, with what the ruler is doing, it's showing up in your seventh and sixth house. For a lot of you, this pull down, emotional breakdown, mental health crises, spiritual crises, self-isolation, really low up and down emotion moment could have been triggered by relationship changes or things happening with relationships, whether it's things to do with unresolved emotions that are coming up from a past relationship, or whether it's unhealthy dynamics or lessons coming up from a current partnership. Or even for some contracts, right? And this could have triggered you to reconsider how you show up in relationships. Are they balanced? Are they toxic? Are you healthy? What's the attachment style? Were you being delusional? Did you fall in love with someone who wasn't really there? Or did you have the right person for you and did you run away? You know, what's the story? This could be bringing up unfinished conversations or unresolved emotions with someone, unresolved feelings, unresolved dreams and hopes. You might feel confused about a partnership you're in or a partnership you let go. You might be feeling confused about recommitting or to committing stronger for someone. And this is the time that just know that the certainty and the clarity will come to you. For some of you, a lot of these big emotional, mental, spiritual shifts were triggered by something to do with health. So maybe you kept getting really, really sick and that triggered you to spend more time alone, which triggered all of these demons to come up. Maybe you were really getting sick because you didn't realize how much your emotions, your mindset, your spirituality, your routines are affecting your health and something had to change there. Or maybe you didn't realize how much a different structure or routine in your daily life could help you with your emotional and mental health. And for some of you, your emotional and mental health, vice versa, the hardships you're experiencing there could have started to spill over into work or spill over into your physical side. And that triggered some kind of dark night of the soul or hardship, which is waking you up into how to fix that. For some of you, what starts as an emotional realization or some kind of mental health or big down moment will lead to a major shift in your relationships and to your daily habits or things that you want to change there. You might end up restructuring your days, your work schedule, your approach to health and fitness, your approach to love, your approach to relationships, who you're literally committed to, your relationship status, based on all of these profound changes that you experience and you go through mentally and emotionally. A relationship could even impact your routine and your health in maybe a positive way, and can teach you a lot of very positive things about your connection with spirit, with God. I know some people are triggered by that. Don't be, right? Don't associate it always with whatever negative association you might have. But yeah, for some people, new changes in your daily routine, new changes in your daily habits, or new decisions that you're making with relationships there, or new people that you meet in relationships could have a very positive impact on your emotions and on your health. If you have felt stuck in a cycle of burnout, exhaustion, or lack of clarity, you will start feeling way more grounded soon once Mercury stations direct. I know it's not going to start off feeling this way because of all that I'm seeing active in the chart, but trust me, it will really release up. You have a very deep emotional release happening. It's finally letting go of something that's been weighing on you. And that's why you're feeling this strong need to retreat, to reflect, to spend time alone, to process emotions. That's why you may be having a sudden realization about a toxic habit or dynamic that needs to end. That's why health stress management is becoming a bigger focus. That's why maybe an old relationship or unresolved situation is reappearing in your thoughts or in your dreams or in your life. That's why you're now having changes as a as an effect of all of these in your daily life, in your physical health, in your habits, as a result of these personal revelations and the changes that are coming there. So really, what is being taken away or brought in is really making space for a powerful rebirth. And you are clearing old energy to prepare for a fresh start in your relationship and your daily life. So trust what is leaving, because it's making room for what's truly meant for you. And when I talked about this the first time, I instantly was just feeling so heavily that someone really needs to read The Power of Now. And I'm going to repeat that again because it's so true. Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. And also, You Can Heal Yourself and You Can Heal. No, You Can Heal Your Life. No, You Can Heal Yourself and You Can Heal Your Life. Look at both of those titles by Louise Hay. Read them both. You can find them on Audible as an audiobook. You can get them as a book and actually read it the old-fashioned way that me as a writer loves. Or you can even, I feel some of you, it may not be that actual book. Check out other books they've written, or go on YouTube and type in each of their names, so Eckhart Tolle or Louise Hay, and see what talks or lectures or workshops they have that could be beneficial for you, or that could have a message for you. I feel like someone really needs to, please, like, I got this as a download the first time around, and I even showed it to the camera, but at the time I got truth bumps, which I call goosebumps, which are indications to me of a message coming through from spirit. Someone really needs this message right now, because someone is going through a very, very hard time. And I don't know if you know Eckhart Tolle's story. By the way, trigger alert. We'll talk about some sensitive themes right now, so quick pause or change the video if you don't want to hear this. But Eckhart Tolle, I believe, was having suicidal thoughts. No, beyond thoughts. It was full on, beyond even ideation. He was getting ready to commit suicide, I believe. And it had been after a truly, truly hard time of repeated defeat. And then all of a sudden, he had this very deep, what he calls a spiritual awakening. And it was what waited for him at the end of his dark night of the soul, the morning he was going to do it. And in a second, his entire consciousness and life totally shifted. He felt so connected to what he described as God, and his higher self, and to the whole purpose of living, and to the collective consciousness, and to just love, and to everything. And he became the man he is today, who's written so many books that have changed so many people's lives. And the depth of darkness that he went to, and how he alchemized and changed that, is what gave him the empathy and the tools and the understanding to be able to go and to help other people, and what made him a stronger person today. So for someone here, I'm feeling this energy. I'm feeling this Eckhart Tolle for the awakening energy. This is really the energy of dark night of the soul. This is really the energy of spiritual awakening. It's really the energy of hang in there. Please trust me, listen to me, hang in there. No matter how hard it feels, don't lose hope. Know that everything is happening for a reason. And the harder and the more intense the energies that are coming up around you and the transformation, the more profound the shift will be at the end. It is truly like the butterfly in the cocoon moment, right? And it's in the darkness that a lot of the magic happens, and that a lot of the weaving happens, and you will feel totally different, come the summer. And so the advice, besides, of course, check out those books I told you, check out the speakers I told you. But the other advice I have for you is, don't be afraid to ask for help. You're really not as alone as you think. And even you can ask for help in prayer. Someone here is thinking, no, I really am alone. And I'm answering you, no, you're really not alone. If you can't afford some kind of external help, whether it's a coach, a shaman, a priest, a therapist, a counselor, or something, a healer, if you feel like you don't have friends or family that you can speak to, although a lot of us have more than we think, we're just scared to talk to them, then you still have help. And the help is floating around you. And a lot of the time, these harder things happen in our life to connect us closer to our spirit team above, and to connect you internally with your spirit self and your spiritual resources, and to get you having some kind of a spiritual hobby or toolkit. So you can pray. You can pray, you can meditate, you can affirm, you can communicate. You are never truly alone. They are always with you. Your guides, your angels, God, the universe, your ancestors, however you like to think about anything. You have the energy of love and support around you. And a lot of what's coming up now is actually to bring your intuition online. If I didn't go through the similar 12th house moments, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be as intuitive as I am today. I wouldn't have this deep spiritual, esoteric connection and knowledge in the practical, not just theoretical. I wouldn't have as much empathy. I wouldn't be able to heal and help people. I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be as strong. And so everything that is seemingly hard, I promise you it's going to get better. Just think of two things. This too shall pass. It really will. Everything passes eventually. And the only way out is through. So surrender not in the way that you surrender to hopelessness and just the full nihilistic thoughts. No, observe them. See them for only what they are, thoughts, as a reaction of the energy that is shifting for you now and the changes. You are the butterfly right now. You're being alchemized. And do you think alchemization is comfortable? See, everything that comes up is coming up for a reason, so don't ignore that. And don't stop yourself from feeling. Really feel. Allow yourself to fully feel, because when you feel, you heal. You release everything that is in your body, and in your psyche, and that's what's so important for you right now. Someone here has not been allowing themselves that much to do that. The other thing is, spirituality will be your savior in this time. Connection with the divine, connection with your higher self, connection with love. Love is the healing source of all. Internal love, self-love, love around you, love in general, just love. Connection with a spiritual routine, connection with a spiritual practitioner, connection with a spiritual book, like any way that you feel called to, whether it's reading, listening, watching, consuming, learning, meditating, peace, quiet, nature. Nature is the most spiritual, comforting thing you can do, is to be in it and to ground. Whether it's going and hiring an astrologer, a shaman, or whatever, whether it's dream journals, whether it's journaling itself, these holistic practices that are either emotional or spiritual based will really, really help you now. So bring those in during this time, because it will bring you a lot of relief and release. Okay, Virgos, I did end up making yours the longest again this time, but I'm really feeling sorry, again, Libras. I don't know why I said Virgos. I think because the full moon is in Virgo. Libras, I ended up making yours the longest this time, but that's because I think someone listening really needs it. And I think actually a few of you are going through a little bit of a hard time. And I think some of you have moments where you get glimpses of it getting better, and some of you are very rarely getting those glimpses. So I'm just here to tell you, hang in, I swear. I swear you're going to be feeling better. You don't fully understand now, but things happening, things you're feeling now, it's somehow here to help you upgrade. And the universe, God, your guides, however you like to think about the concept, you're not given anything that you cannot alchemize and you cannot work through, even no matter how low it feels. So allow yourself to feel that low, even let that nihilistic thought come, but just let it come. Let it come and go. Time will tell and time will show, and it will fade with time. Things are going to get better. Okay. And so that's my message for you. And the eclipse is an incredibly big and transformative time for you. And if you're feeling a lot of these emotional ups and downs and isolations and hopelessness and confusion and lack of clarity, I promise you it will shift. And just another positive reminder that for some of you, like I mentioned earlier, you could be having positive shifts in love, in this mental health space, in this connection with the spiritual, and in your health. I do think that a lot of it, because of the aspects and conjunctions and everything, I think a lot of you it's going to be more starting the hard way. That's the harder story that I spend a lot of time on. But for some of you, you're instantly going through the positive way. And again, I don't mean to fearmonger at all. It's the opposite. This is here to provide comfort and clarity for a lot of what I see a lot of you going through. Just remember, good things are coming, okay? So everything is going to be more than okay, and everything that's happening now is happening for a very big and powerful and wonderful reason. Hello, Scorpio. Scorpio suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon eclipse in Virgo reading. The full moon eclipse is happening on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST, exactly until March 14th at 12:31 a.m. PST. For the majority of the world, though, it's just March 14th that this eclipse is happening on. And what's very interesting about this eclipse is that the ruler of the eclipse, Mercury, will actually be turning retrograde in Aries on the exact day, March 14th. And then after a while, will station direct in Pisces. And this is a pretty big deal. And at the same time, we also have two other retrogrades happening. So it's a very big eclipse. A quick little disclaimer is this is actually the second time I record this. I lost hours of recording. And though I hope to get the main messages across, I think the little details that I repeat in each video about this eclipse, the timing, when you'll feel it, how long it'll last, all the big aspects, what makes it different, my collective predictions, all of that is at the beginning. So more than ever, I really recommend you watch the beginning. Also because I talk about juicy predictions and things like love and aliens. Who knew those would come in the same sentence? So please watch the beginning. Now for you, Scorpio, you're having life-changing, fated shifts that could feel very emotional and very, shift big and sudden at once when it comes to friendships, social circles, long-term goals, and the future. So for some of you, you may be distancing yourself from certain friendships or find yourself drawn to new social circles. For some of you, you could suddenly lose a friend, or you could be the one to decide to end a friendship. For some of you, you're letting go of outdated plans or dreams to make space for new or more aligned opportunities. For some of you, what starts as a shift in friendship will actually lead to a deeper realization about love, joy, dating, self-expression, hobbies, your inner child, what lights you up, your self-embodiment. You're maybe being shown lessons of how much you may have lost yourself, or what's the balance between existing in a community and being yourself. You may have realized that maybe you're not fully, truly embodying yourself, and as a cost, you ended up with friends who are not your soul tribe, or who no longer fill your cup. And so the decision to embody yourself more is coming at the cost of losing those, right? You may realize that you've outgrown certain social expectations and you want to embrace more personal freedom. For some of you, there is the potential of love and romance and flings. Romance or creative themes could come into focus. Old flames or unfinished creative projects may resurface. For a lot of you, by the time Mercury stations direct, by the time we're kind of through this eclipse period, you'll be having clarity on what truly brings you happiness, and what you long for in a social group, in a social setting, in friendship. For some of you, you could have a sudden realization that a friendship or a social connection no longer aligns. For some of you, something that maybe you dreamt of in the past or wanted in the past, no longer feels like it fits you, is no longer right. For some of you, you could be experiencing changes in work dynamics or your daily routines or your health or your fitness that somehow leaks into and impacts your social life and your friendships. For some of you, you're feeling drawn to a new social circle or reconnecting with old friends or making new friends that are more aligned, or you're feeling drawn to start new hobbies. And you should do that, because if it's the case, for some of you, this may lead to love. You could end up meeting a love interest through friends, or you could end up meeting a love interest through a new passion project or a new hobby, or through putting yourself out there more, or for embodying your true self more. For some people, a love interest may actually introduce you to a new soul tribe or a new community. For some of you, you could be getting into a new creative project or a childhood hobby or childhood dream, or something that you really loved or brought you a lot of joy. And this a lot changes maybe how you're showing up or evaluating or thinking of friendships and your long-term dreams, and a lot of that. For a lot of you, you're redefining what love and joy and creativity means to you. For some of you, you're calling in your soul tribe. You're realizing who's truly aligned with me, with who I'm turning in the future, and you're having a lot of those reality checks. So just know that, if a friend is removed right now, or if an entire friend group is removed right now, or if you're feeling alone or like you don't have your soul tribe or community, you do. And a lot of the shifts that you might be having now, whether it's the universe closing doors for you, or whether it's you being pushed to close the doors, or whether it's intuitive shifts like, should I go to that time left dinner, or should I go to that meetup, or should I start taking salsa classes, or should I reconnect with an old friend, or whatever. If you're, whatever those intuitive pushes and pulls are, they're also trying to push you to something bigger. So trust the intuitive hits that you're getting, trust the dreams that are coming back into your mind, trust the nudges that may be coming from passion, and trust that the friendships, goals, and connections falling away are making room for something more fulfilling and more authentic and more aligned, and set the intention to call in your soul tribe. And for some of you, yes, you will also be having, like I said, some love coming in as you begin to embody yourself more and to be more true to yourself, or to go after joy and your passions. And there is like love, a fling, even if it doesn't go as intense as love, but there's romance coming somehow as well for a lot of you. Hello, Sagittarius, Sagittarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo forecast. The eclipse is happening on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST until March 14th at 12:31 a.m. PST. So for the rest of the world, it's just going to be March 14th, and it will be happening at 23 degrees of Virgo. Super creepy when I said that. The exact time of this recording is 23 seconds. Anyway, what's really interesting about this eclipse is the ruler, Mercury, will actually be turning retrograde on March 14th, the first day of the eclipse, in Aries, but then it will station direct later in Pisces. So before we start, I just want to say 2 disclaimers. A, I'm sorry I'm sick. I sound definitely not as good as usual, but I wanted to get this video out there. And B, this is the second take. I lost hours of video through a hiccup, and I'm making sure to go over all the big points, but now more than ever, I recommend you listen to the beginning, just because the beginning was the only thing that survived. And I have a lot of details about this eclipse, the timing, how to understand when you'll start feeling this, until when the stories will unfold, the axis change of the eclipse, where, how you'll be feeling it physically as well as emotionally, what I predict for the world, for yourself, just all these things. Listen to the collective, okay? Because some of it may definitely apply to you, and there could be something there for you. For you, Sagittarius, there is a big change that is fated. Eclipses is all about fate. And you know what? You cannot escape your fate. You should accept it. Accept it for sure. Do not escape it. You cannot. So the eclipses are also really heavily about surrender. And the eclipses are very emotional times. Like, they make a lot of people, frankly, quite wild. And that's normal. That's normal because we are energetic bodies made of water. And, the moon affects the currents of the ocean and the seas. And so we are so heavily impacted. And they affect the cycles of women. So we see also they affect humans. And I explained at the beginning of the video too that, they can even trigger psychosis in some people. Not saying that's going to happen in you, but it's just like the effect of eclipses is only now being understood by science, whereas astrology has explained this for so long. And so it's important for people to know, because they are so intense. And it's good to know, oh my God, I'm not losing it. There's a reason for this. I understand it now. Now I know what it's trying to tell me. For you, there is a major turning point in your career, your long-term direction, your purpose. A job, career path, or professional role may be ending, evolving, or shifting. There could be a change in your status, whether it's like promotion or recognition or stepping into a new leadership role. You could be reassessing your public image. How do I want to be seen? What do I truly want to be known for? You could be thinking, what is my purpose? Or you could be even thinking, what is no longer sustainable about my career goals, about my ambitions? How is it affecting the way I live? Now, the 10th house, the house that's getting activated for you with this eclipse, is actually what is called an angular house, which means you are one of the signs that is going to be feeling this eclipse very intensely. That's you, Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo, ascendants, suns, moons, and risings. And then, of course, I think Libras who are getting it in the 12th house, and maybe was it Aquarius in the 8th? Whatever. But you're one of the signs that are really, really strongly getting hit by this eclipse. So yes, you will strongly feel this energetically. You will strongly feel this emotionally. You will be getting a lot of intuitive hits and intuitive nudges from the universe. So pay attention to that. But also, even though the eclipse is only lighting up really your 10th house, the ruler is affecting your 4th house and your 5th house. But besides all of that, because it's an angular house, even if the ruler wasn't there, it's switching up lots of things in your lives. So what it means is some of these changes that have to do with career, purpose, ambition, job, role, title, authority, whatever, they could somehow end up affecting where you live. Your concept of family, your concept of home, your emotional foundation. They could end up affecting love. They could end up affecting romance for you, passion, creativity. They could end up affecting relationships and commitment and contracts and business partnerships. They could end up affecting your sense of self, your creed, your I am, your identity, your appearance, etc. And all of this could not seem tied, but actually could be. Sorry, I don't know if my voice is fading because I've been talking now for absolute hours after losing those videos, or if it's fading because I'm sick. One or the other. Yeah, so at the same time with all this career change, a past creative project or a past creative passion or a dream you may have had in childhood could be reemerging. And for some of you, romance, an old romance flame could be reemerging and coming back into focus. And if you're experiencing any romantic confusion, answers will become clear, but you should listen to your feelings and those nudges. They will help make it clear. For some of you, past artistic or passion-based ideas or childhood hobbies can come back into focus. If you're experiencing also creative confusion, confusion tied to the direction you should take, that will come into focus. If you've been experiencing a creative or entrepreneurial block, that will come into focus, and that will shift a lot of your career and your purpose and your dreams and all of that stuff. Overall, you are things that are happening around you, the emotions, nudges, or actual events that are coming up are causing you to reevaluate what truly excites you and what truly inspires you, and is making you question, am I still doing what I love? And what is the cost of it? And what is love? And what do I love? And who do I love? And do I want to love someone as well, not just love something? And so what could start as a career purpose question and shift could lead to a major realization about your home life, your security, your emotional well-being, your passions, and your relationships and romance. So for some of you, you could also be reconsidering where you live or what home means to you or how your home environment affects your long-term success. For some of you, a family situation could become more clear or could be calling for your attention. Issues with parents or family or moving or real estate or any home you might own or trying to buy a house or where you live or your roommates or your hometown or things like that could come up. If that's the case, then expect by the end of this period, by the end of May perhaps, or sooner, and by mid-end April, to know what's truly stable and secure for your next chapter. So for some of you, a change in where you live or your home or your living situation could be tied to the changes in either your career or in your passions or in love. For some of you, releasing an old job, an old business, or an old title that no longer aligns with you, I think I just made that up, could really set your soul alive and set you on a new path that is so fitting for you. For some of you, you're having just a really big career breakthrough or promotion or a big shift in the work direction. And for some of you, you start asking again if a past romantic flame actually fits in your life more than you thought and what needs to change to be able to accommodate it. So it's amazing because whether something is being removed or introduced now, it's bringing in space for deeper alignment when it comes to your career life, your purpose, your personal life, romance, and your passions. So just trust that these shifts are helping you truly build a stronger and more meaningful foundation and a more aligned one to your purpose for the future. Hello, Capricorn, Capricorn suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo reading. The full moon eclipse is happening at 23 degrees of Virgo on March 13th at 11:26 p.m. PST until March 14th at 12:31 a.m. PST. So for the majority of the world, it will be just March 14th PST. What is fascinating about this full moon this full moon eclipse, which is like a mega charge full moon, mega charge. Eclipses always bring massive fated events and also bring massive emotions and energetic waves with them, is the ruler of this eclipse, Mercury, is actually turning retrograde the day of the eclipse on March 14th. And then it will continue until it actually repasses into Pisces, and it will station direct there, which is pretty big. Before we start, I just want to say, if you haven't, I really recommend you listen to the intro first, because it has my predictions and details and for these eclipses, which are bringing one of the most life-changing months of the year and time frames of the year. And second, because it's the only thing that survived my initial recordings. I lost hours of recordings for the all signs individual forecasts, which I was devastated about. And I am going to, of course, cover the main notes and everything, but a lot of the things I may have repeated that had to do with the timings of the eclipse, the big themes, a lot of this stuff, it's now just going to be in the intro. I'm sorry. So go back and listen to that, because it can be very helpful for you. Now, for you, Capricorn, oh, also, other disclaimer, I'm sick recording this, but I really wanted to get it out because this eclipse is already hitting a lot of people emotionally, and I want them to know where that's coming from. So pardon my nasally sounding congestion, can't really breathe, but it's fine. We're getting through it. So for you, Capricorn, this eclipse is bringing an energy of spiritual awakening for you. It could be collapsing a lot of your beliefs and belief systems you had about the world. The things that come up and come forward during this time for you could be rechanging the core structures of which you viewed the world, how you thought maybe the world was run, what your spiritual beliefs are, all of these things. And somehow the things that happen around this eclipse time frame could be truly expanding your mind and expanding your spirituality and expanding your consciousness. For some people, that is just in the sense that you would think it is. For some people, that would be happening through things like higher education, whether it's going back to academia or a new course and deepening your studies, whether it's the studies of the esoteric or the studies of, a new really in-depth career path. But for some of you, it's coming through travel. So if you're feeling heavily called to travel at this time, whether it's to do a retreat or to go visit someone or to solo travel or to go to a new country, I would really consider truly doing it, because there's some type of foreignness here, foreign movement, foreign exposure to foreign lands, to foreign people, to foreign language, to foreign religion. It could also, by the way, be a long-term relationship for some of you, or long-term connection that is bringing this expansion of the mind that will shift into changing or refining or redefining of a lot of your main personal life philosophies and your long-term vision. Some of you could be getting a shift in education, a shift in learning, a shift in your spiritual practices, releasing old ideals and embracing new ones. For some of you, you could be having sudden changes when it comes to international matters, sudden changes in immigration. Maybe some of you are actually moving internationally. Maybe you've done it before and you're doing it again, or maybe you're doing it for the first time. Maybe you're moving for love, or maybe you're moving for education, or maybe you're moving just because your soul says, or maybe some of you could actually be moving for home, for sense of home, and some of you could be moving for work. It could be changes related to immigration, to visas, changes related to your travel plans. Maybe you weren't even planning on traveling, or maybe you're listening to this and going, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not traveling anytime soon. Come back and tell me by April 29th. You probably would have had a sudden something like this. For some of you, it could be things to do with publishing, writing, because this area of the chart, in a way, that is the expansion of the mind, right? It also rules that. So if you are a writer, a publisher, it could be something that your pursuits somehow here, or even your academic pursuits, could reach a turning point. I actually published my first book when this same spot of my chart was eclipsed. I also became a professional astrologer when the same part of my chart was eclipsed. And this is the part of your chart that rules the esoteric knowledge, that rules astrology. So you could, and other things like astrology, tarot, feng shui, human design, mediumship, anything. And so you could be suddenly feeling drawn to these modalities and to discovering them and to consuming content about them and to hiring their services and to, all this kind of stuff, to understanding that spiritual or other world side of your being. Some of you are letting go of limiting beliefs that no longer align with who you are. And for some of you, a lot of these things could have to do with family somehow. For example, if some of these beliefs came from your family or your community that you were born with or your hometown or who you live with, you could be breaking away from those. For some of you, a past home or family-related issue may resurface. For some of you, you could be reconsidering where you live or real estate plans or family connections, or even whether it's moving apartments or moving with neighborhoods or moving cities or moving states and provinces and emirates and wherever, your little, whatever your nation is divided into. Or it could be moving continents or countries. And this movement could lead to that shift in world perspective and philosophy and life happiness and all of those things we talked about, or vice versa. It could be this shift that you've been having that actually causes you to consider that. Some of you will actually be wanting to reconnect or move back to your hometown or where your family is, where some of you will be moving away. Some of you will be having a lot of old memories and nostalgia or ancestral patterns that come up for healing. Some of you are thinking of buying real estate. Some of you want to go visit your family or will be having a trip to visit your family soon. Some of you are having unfinished conversations or issues with family members that are coming up that need closure. Some of you are reevaluating your sense of emotional security. What makes you feel safe and stable? How is that related to where you might live or travel or your philosophies or your political views? Some of you are having a full collapse of how you think the world is run and re-seeing that it's run in a different way. And this could be leading to you, it's kind of, I can't remember if I said this in this video, honestly, or in the last video. So I might be repeating myself because I know I did say it. I just feel like it was in the last video. But you could be having a very V for Vendetta Matrix Cloud Atlas moment where you suddenly wake up and you kind of see how everything's connected, or you kind of see what things really are, or you understand Plato's allegory of the cave and how it applies. I think I said it in the last video. Sorry if I'm repeating. But you could suddenly be seeing that. And this could make you kind of really panic or make you want to move or make you want more emotional stability or safety or make you, want to communicate a lot and post it on social media, because I see for some of you, social media, communication, writing, publishing, connecting online is also going to be really somehow a profound big deal for you in this eclipse. Some of you are feeling very called to be very active in that sense, to be active in things to do with the truth or change on a global level, or how is, even if you're not active, some of you will be active, but for some of you it's more internal, but you're suddenly becoming your bubble has burst and you're seeing the world in a whole new light. And if that's the case, you're going to love my intro. Go watch it and go watch my prediction video from November. And if that's the case too, just remember to ground and listen to the intro because I talk more about grounding. Some of you may be rethinking how you share your ideas, rethinking your social connections, or even how you process information. So what starts as a big picture shift in your beliefs will lead to a major shift in your daily mindset and in your communication. For some of you, this is a smaller number of you, things could come up with your siblings, your neighbors, your coworkers, or your daily environment that could shift a lot of these spiritual beliefs, these political beliefs, these governmental beliefs, these life view beliefs, these life philosophies. They're all kind of tied together, which is why I'm talking about them all together. And if you don't see quite how they tie yet, then that's part of what you'll be learning. But this could somehow either create a different type of connection with your sibling or realization in a good way or a bad way, right? So there's some kind of an activation here where it activates this relationship if you have siblings, of course. by the time you get through this, you're going to have a totally new perspective. And whether that comes through travel, exploring spirituality, the esoteric, connection to home, family, relatives, siblings, or just more spiritual, intuitive experiences and nudges, or just more kind of the matrix collapsing feelings, it's going to happen one way or another. So all you have to do is surrender and flow and follow your intuition, follow your nudges, let go of any outdated beliefs or mindsets that no longer resonate, revisit what has to be revisited. And if there is any unexpected travel or relocation or reconnection with siblings or relatives or family, consider those, that things that come to you during an eclipse and also that leave you during an eclipse happen for a reason. And for you, trust that your beliefs and your foundations are being realigned for a greater purpose. Hello, Aquarius, Aquarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo video. The lunar eclipse is happening at 23 degrees of Virgo. For most of the world, it's happening on March 14th, but for some people on March 13th and then into 14th, because it is happening at March 13th, 11:26 p.m. PST until March 14th, 12:31 a.m. PST. What's really interesting about this eclipse is that the ruler of this eclipse, Mercury, is actually going retrograde the day of the first day of the day of the eclipse on March 14th. And it will continue retrograde until it enters Pisces, and then it will station direct in Pisces. And if you haven't, please be sure to listen to the beginning of the video, the collective part. It's important because, first of all, this is one of the most life-changing moments that we will be experiencing for the next few months, starting definitely by March, but for some people's lives, and maybe a little bit in February. But also because I lost all the all signs videos I had recorded. This is my second take for all the all signs. I literally lost hours of recording, and I'm re-recording the same day, although now it's very late at night. So anyway, but because of this, of course, I'm going over the main points, but I'm not re-repeating in each sign some of the important details that I said in the all signs to help you understand the timing, the energy rollouts, how you might be feeling, how to think about when things will roll out, all of these things, the relationship between this eclipse, the next one, a lot of very important stuff. So if you can, please go back and listen to it. Now, Aquarius, you are one of the signs that are actually going to feel this energetically and emotionally very intensely, okay? For some of you, it will also instantly roll out life-changing events in the time frame. For others of you, there won't be necessarily life-changing events within this time frame, but there will be events that seem super chaotic or big or emotionally triggering that trigger very karmic and meant to happen fated perspective shifts. Very deep, intense psyche shifts, very deep, intense personality shifts, very deep, intense energetic shifts. Okay. And so you are one of the signs that I'm recording this sick for because you are one of the signs where, eclipse in the 8th house, that feels hard and that feels heavy. And if you're thinking it doesn't feel that way yet, well, I'm posting this early, even though some of you may have started actually feeling this last week. But if it's not feeling this way yet, it will definitely be feeling this way by March 14th. And I don't mean that in a bad way, by the way. I do not want to scare at all. Like, that's not my point here. Astrology is actually here to empower and to prepare you. And so, when we're aware of why certain things may be coming up, it actually is easier. So what I mean is, the 8th house is the house of transformation. So this part of your house that's getting hit with an eclipse, it's like a super, super, super duper 10x supermoon, right? And it's bringing fated events and fated shifts, right? And it's heightening your connection to spirit and to the divine. And it's happening in the part that for you rules deep transformation, that rules power dynamics, and that rules also in some cases shared finances. All the other astrologers might just be talking about shared finances or death. But this house also rules passion. This house rules sex. Oops, I said it. I hope I don't get shadow banned or something. Okay. This house rules sex. This house rules intimacy. This house rules soul merging, right? If the 7th house before this is marriage, the 8th house is the progression of that. It is like Gomez and Morticia Adams energy. It is the merging of souls coming into union. It is a love so intense where sex and devotion and marriage and spirituality and connection to the divine all merge into one. It is the house that rules deep, 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 deep metamorphosis, deep transformation, going into Hades and looking at the darkest aspects of yourself and transmuting that dark into light. So it might have a lot of moments where you're sitting on your couch, huddled up and cold in the dark and feeling defeated and confused, and your emotions are pounding in your head like thunderstorms, and you're feeling all these different things, and many different things may collapse in your life at once, or many certain traumas from the past or psychological or emotional baggage can come up, or some kind of ending or evolution in an intimate or financial relationship can come, or a karmic cycle can close, but it's doing all of this to release emotional baggage from the past. It's doing all of this to cause some of the most deepest transformation that you will experience, that will really shift your psyche, your energy, your spirit, your soul. It is doing this to bring an emotional and psychological and mental and spiritual and intimate and sexual even, oh, I'm saying it way too much, breakthrough. It is doing this to shed old fears or to allow you to step into a deeper and a more empowered state. It is truly an evolution, whether the evolution takes place intimately, financially, spiritually, psychologically. Did I say spiritually? Yes. Metaphysically, trauma-wise, healing-wise. It is really a death and rebirth moment. For some people, it can be a literal death and rebirth. I have actually seen in some cases people like give birth, or someone around them who's pregnant that's very important to them will give birth. For some people, it's death of an idea, the death of an identity, the death of a karmic cycle, and the rebirth of a new one, the rebirth of a new beginning, the rebirth of something good. Either way, it's a karmic cycle closing, and that can't happen alone. That always comes with a deep introspection and realizing what holds power over you and deciding what to release. For you, with also how the ruler is playing parts here, for some of you, you could be having a shift in how you connect with your siblings, neighbors, or close contacts. There could be shifts in those relationships, or you could be going to visit them. Someone might have an old conversation, contract, or message that could resurface, or someone could receive some kind of a big message that triggers a chain reaction leading to something more. Someone could revisit a writing project or something communication based. What starts off as an emotional or financial shift could lead to a deeper realization about self-worth and financial independence. For some people, a financial decision or situation will gain clarity soon by the end of the cycle. For some people, you could be rethinking how you earn, spend, or manage your money. For some people, you could be realizing that your self-worth isn't tied to external validation. By some people, I mean by some Aquarians. For some Aquarians, this could be something to do with a change in shared finances, whether it's a shared asset shifting or financial partnerships, or if you support family members or family members support you. For some people, there's a deep emotional or psychological realization, letting go of a fear of attachment. For some people, trauma could be getting highlighted, opportunities to heal the trauma, big releases, or the universe could be sending signs for modalities or mediums to help you heal deep emotional, psychological, physical, intimate traumas. And you could be letting go of those fears, attachments, and energetic barriers. Some of you could be having very profound shifts in intimacy and getting closer to someone in that Gomez, Morticia Adams way, or deciding, in other cases, deciding to have stronger boundaries, or having really soul-shifting, sensual experiences. Some of you, it's just like a really big deep dive into personal transformation, shadow work, therapy, breaking generational patterns, intimacy, this beautiful, beautiful, like energy, So whatever comes up now, even if it does seem hard, even if it's a lot of dark stuff, even if you're suddenly losing friendships, then your view of the world is changing, or you don't know what you want to do, or you feel so lost or held down by your fears and your wounds, or whatever, or finances or debts or loans are weighing on you, or your relationship with your sibling is hard, or whatever's coming up in some weird way, just know that, or you're spending more time alone, right? Or some doors are closing and endings are happening. All of that is making space for a new approach to self-worth, for intimacy, new approach to intimacy, new approach to spirituality, new approach to finances, new approach to independence, and trust that whatever is shifting is truly guiding you towards greater enlightenment, empowerment, stability, and your Phoenix rising moment. This is the Phoenix rising. It's the alchemization of the dark into light. And it's really, you're navigating deep and emotional, in some cases, financial power shifts. And it's amazing. And so even if it seems hard at the time, just know that it's leading to your greater good in the end. Hello, my beautiful Pisces. Welcome to your lunar eclipse in Virgo forecast. The eclipse will be happening exactly at 23 degrees of Virgo on March 13th, 11:26 p.m. PST until March 14th at 12:31 a.m. PST. So honestly, yeah, for the majority of the world, it's just March 14th, except for those on the Western Pacific side. And what's interesting is Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, will actually be turning retrograde on March 14th, the day of the eclipse. And it will start off retrograde in Aries, and then it will eventually actually go into Pisces, which is your first house. So between Mercury retrograding back into your first house sometime along this, and between the eclipse hitting your seventh house, Pisces, this is an angular house activation. So this is a big deal. You are one of the signs that will be feeling this eclipse very strongly, but will also be seeing life shifts happen in the real physical 3D realm that are so sudden in your life related to this eclipse. Please excuse me, I am sick recording this video, so I do not sound the same. I'm quite congested. I don't know if it's nice to listen to, but I wanted to record this just because I know that some of you are going to be feeling this already. You would have started feeling the building up of energy and emotions from last week. And also, this is my second take. I lost all of the hours of the All Signs videos I had recorded. It was probably one of my longer and more detailed reading. Each one was over 20-ish minutes. And I'm re-recording now late at night the same day. So I don't think they will be as long, but I'm covering a lot of the main core points. Because of this, I really recommend and ask that you listen to the intro, because the intro survived. And the intro has a lot of the very big eclipse details, as well as the collective energy, and as well as descriptions of how you'll be feeling this energetically, physically, and the timing, the play out of the emotional stuff, the symptoms, all of the stuff, as well as my super cool predictions for things that are coming, some that are UFO related, which I actually recorded this, I made the notes for this days ago. I just didn't do it because I was sick, and I just checked my news today, and some of the UFO stuff is already happening. Oh, I should have recorded it last week. Okay. Anyway. So check out the intro because it's great. Now, Pisces, we mentioned that you're one of the ones getting hit hard, right? But the great stuff is for you, this has to do with one word, love, Love, and relationships and commitment. Okay, that's 3 words, but they all tie together. And so for you, this eclipse is really bringing a major turning point in a key relationship, whether romantic, business, or personal. A partnership, if you're existing in one, may evolve and or require serious reevaluation. An old relationship dynamic or unresolved situation may resurface for closure, clarity, or recommitment. A partnership you're in may end up getting further and deeper in commitment. A major realization could come to you about what you truly need in love and connection. The way you relate to others could change somehow. You could start asking yourself who or what really aligns to my future. You could suddenly, if you're single, start meeting a lot of really, people that are getting closer and closer, but not quite it. And then you could actually meet the one. For some of you, some of these relationship changes are somehow affecting how you think of your self-worth, your values, your finances, and your budget somehow. There could be a financial situation connected to a partner or shared resources that you could be revisiting. You could be reevaluating your personal values, what you're willing to invest emotionally or financially. You could be having self-worth issues resurface, and you could realize what needs to change. This could also be past money issues resurfacing. You could start evaluating how do finances and income affect what I think my self-worth is when it comes to relationships. and you could realize how that has been affecting some things in the past. For some of you, what starts off as a relationship shift, whether it's one that's actually exterior or just internal, ends up leading to a major realization about yourself. For some of you, a deep personal transformation happens, and you maybe go through a glow up, or maybe you ask yourself, who am I now? Or maybe you ask yourself, how do I want to show up in the world? And this starts affecting how you call in or how you show up in relationships, whether love, business, or personal. For some of you, you might literally start changing how you look, whether it's focusing on your body more, or changing your hair, or how you do your makeup, or updating your wardrobe, or you change your creed, your I am statement. The old version of you starts to fall away, which makes space for a new, more empowered self. And for some of you, the fuel to this fire may have come from some relationship stuff that happened, or someone new you met that ignited a fire in you, or remembering, or some heartbreak from the past. But for a lot of you, it's the opposite. For a lot of you, the amount of energy and time that you've been putting into yourself and to your glow up, into being true to yourself, into embodying your true self and making sure that your relationship decisions are in alignment with that, is doing amazing things to call in an amazing partner. And if you are in a relationship, then it calls it into the next level. It brings a beautiful layer to it. You could commit to a deeper level. You could have a real big momentous event in your relationship. Either way, you'll have a clearer vision of what you want in relationships and what you want in life overall, whether you are single or in a relationship. There's a deepening of a bond, a setting of a new boundary. For some people, a letting go of a connection that no longer fits, right? Because this Virgo eclipse is the first Virgo full moon that is happening on this new axis. So when we enter eclipse axes, they last for a year and a half. So for a lot of you, if you don't meet your spiritual or your soulmate in this eclipse round, but I think a lot of you actually might, if you don't, then you might be meeting them for the other ones that happen on this axis. But what will need to happen first is some kind of a shift. Maybe that shift is you're not aligned in the right relationships or connections, so they have to fall apart. Maybe the shift is things that trigger you, that remind you of where you maybe could have shown up better in the past, or what traumas kept you from love in the past, and you work on them, right? Maybe the shift is helping you pinpoint what you actually want to have in a relationship and partner, that what you thought was different, and now you need to refocus. But either way, it's a fated event that is bringing you closer to love and commitment. And if you're taken in a relationship, it could really be a significant shift that deepens the bond, or if it's not the right one, it could be one that says the connection no longer fits. For a lot of you, because of I'm hesitant to say this just because I don't want to put delusion in anyone's, whatever. I think it's so bad to get stuck on exes, but at the same time, objectively as an astrologer, I have to say what I see, right? But just take everything with a grain of salt and with detachment, and just know that just because an ex merges doesn't mean it's your soulmate. You have to let him tell you in action how he has changed, right? I'm assuming gender. Sorry, I don't mean to do that. She, replace it, the ex with he or she or it or whatever you want. I just mean let the ex. I'm talking in he's just because I'm a she, so it's easier for me. I just rhymed. Okay, so for you, yes, okay, because we have the ruler of this eclipse in retrograde, and we also have Venus and Juno retrograde at the same time, I am not going to lie to you, this is mega return of the ex energy, mega return of the past partner energy, mega return of old relationship dynamic. And this could just actually, for some people, this could be coming up to test you. For some of you, this could be coming up to resurface for resolution. Maybe you never got closure, or you're still asking, what if? And it has to come up for you to ask the final what if and get your answer and move on. I had a client before the eclipses hit her, actually last year in April, April, the first March eclipse had her reach out to her ex that she for years had held on to, what if. And then and he said no. And then by the time the second eclipse came 2 weeks later, she had totally released him and moved on, because the emotions were no longer raw. It had been years ago. She had just wondered if there was still potential. And finally, she met the right person for her. So this is what I mean. You might not have both of those happening within an eclipse window. That's pretty rare. But something like this could happen. So maybe an ex comes back because of that. Maybe an ex comes back for another reason, and that could be maybe they're actually your soulmate. And again, if that case happens, you let the actions tell you that, okay? And just be very conscious of the progression of that, okay? Things will happen that will make you realize how your self-worth has shaped your relationships. And it will ask you to choose better for yourself. A financial decision or situation connected to a partner could also come up for review, or self-belief related to that connected to a partner could up for review. There could be a change in how you see yourself that puts you into a new level of confidence and personal identity. Listen, either way, whether, it's, oh, I'm getting married, or, oh, I'm meeting my soulmates, or whether it's not, whether it's a breakup, or, oh, that guy I just met, it just fell through after 1 month. I don't know what the point of that was. Or I'm not meeting anyone, but my ex reached out to me and it brought up some stuff and I purged it. Like, whatever the story is, there are fated emotional shifts related to you and love that are happening at this time. And going through those are also going to bring fated things happening to you glowing up, you being aligned more to your true self. And this, because it's an angular position, is going to end up positively affecting your career and your purpose, and also your sense of emotional stability, your roots, your home, your family, things like that. It's going to be like you are totally going to be a different energy and person by the time this eclipse window ends. Okay? So just trust, surrender, right? Eclipses are not really the best time, of course, depending on your chart as well and your energy, to set, per se, to really feel like you have to do something. Because you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is surrender, allow, listen to the nudges, and listen to the intuition. What is being removed now is making space for a major personal rebirth. And what is coming in now, there is no way it didn't come in without the highest parts of the universe allowing it to come in, okay? For a reason, even if it's not the reason you might think it is. Even if it is the reason you think it is. So trust, whatever that is shifting is realigning you with soul relationships and is bringing you on a closer path to divine love and divine unity. And if you're already in that, then be happy. Be happy. The shifts that come during this time will tell you a lot. The connection might deepen, might solidify more, and pay attention if it goes the other way. Either way, this serves you to having a more authentic version of yourself, and you might already be feeling like you're shifting timelines, because the kind of things that are coming up in your chart is a big shift in timeline. And for some Pisces, they could be at the part in their energy, in their journey, in their charts, where it's coming in the reward part. I don't want to say that either, but the more of, okay, I've been through all the other stuff, like now's the time where I actually get married or meet them or get proposed to. And for others, it's coming through, depending on how you aligned you are with what fate wants you to, with what your path is. We have free will and fate. So I know I'm using the word fate a lot because it's about eclipses, and eclipses are about fate. But I want you to remember, and I'll make a whole video on this, but astrology does not take away your free will. That is a misconception that I see so much, and I really don't like it. A lot of people that talk about against astrology will say things like, I don't like it because it takes away your free will, and then how are you manifesting if you don't have free will? It does not take away your free will. Astrology is kind of like telling you what's going to unfold, the energy-wise. And then what you decide to do with that is totally your free will. So there's a combination here, right? It's kind of like playing Sims. You can either control every little thing the sim does, or you can just hit play and let the sim do whatever we want. And in this case, we're the Sims, okay? So, and astrology is like the action cue, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can YouTube it. But it's like that here. So yes, there is 100%, and I've seen for years, because I've read for many people and for myself and for my friends and my family and my clients, yes, there is an element of fate, 100%. But how it'll roll out And what you do with it is totally free will, okay? So no matter if this eclipse unfolds in a way of meeting the right one for you, your soul union, which 100% exists, or if it rolls out in someone you thought was the one ending, just know that when you're acting from self-love and love and trust of the universe, you don't fight, you surrender and you trust. And you move from a place of love, not fear, not lack. And so no matter which side it hits, like if you go through this eclipse window and you haven't met the one yet, which, like I said, it could happen. This eclipse window could do something to get you ready for it. Just don't be discouraged. This is just one eclipse out of many that will be on the Virgo Pisces axis. Of course, this one has its own flavors because of what the ruler is doing, where the ruler is at, all the different retrogrades, the current aspects, the second eclipse it's paired with, right? But at the same time, still, it's not like, it doesn't mean if it doesn't happen in this time that it's the end for you. You're going to be seeing relationship deepenings and shifts for the next year at least. So it could happen this time. And for a lot of you guys listening, I truly hope it does. And if it does, please let me know in the comments. But if it doesn't, and if it comes in another form, just know that it's really preparing you. So please do not lose hope. But yes, you are one of the signs. You are the number one sign that I do predict will be seeing a relationship or love shift. That is the main thing in your reading. Okay. And it's going to affect your self-esteem, your self-worth. There's a tie here. I think maybe what's happening is you've been focusing on yourself a lot. Maybe you've been isolating a lot. Maybe you've been like, get the bag or lose the weight or fix my self-esteem, my self-worth. I'm not accepting anything. Like maybe you've had a lot of this and then finally it's coming in. I think that's the story I'm feeling for a lot of you. Yeah, but those are the themes that are present, and don't lose hope no matter how it plays out, okay? All right. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And don't forget that if you subscribe and comment, you actually enter to win a free reading with me. And any additional comment counts as an additional entry. Ciao.